All right, here we go.
All right.
Sonny, in before we even started the show.
Sunny in before the start of the show.
We got Gamecock Larry as well.
Oh, good. I hear us coming in. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
You're up.
You're just a few hours away. From the weekend. Get up, get excited. Day 2 of the Masters, the final day of Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrett by themselves. I don't know what you'd be more excited for. Tim and Jen coming back on Monday. What do you think people are more excited for? No singing this morning from us, Patrick.
I don't think people are excited for Tim and Jen to come back.
Yeah, I don't know. It's Tim and Jen coming back is kind of like having a Clemson family member at your Thanksgiving party. It's annoying. It's annoying. Isn't that right, Jim? Good morning to Jim Corley, DC, Trey, Sonny.
Look at this, a lively live stream.
Yeah, welcome in on the
Morning,
live
everybody.
stream. Yeah, good morning to everybody. Hope you're doing well out there. Friday morning, we've made it to the end. We're there. We're getting there. Patrick and I have 3 hours. If you're getting up, getting excited, fixing some coffee, maybe you're getting the kids ready for school, you're a few hours away. End of the week is near, and we will head into the weekend. Masters, we'll see if Justin Rose can hold on. Justin Rose has been here before.
What does it feel like to be in the zone that he was in yesterday?
Looking
at his scorecard is ridiculous. 2 bogeys. It was 2 bogeys through the first 7 holes. Then he eagles number 8 and goes 7 for 10, 7 birdies in the last 10. That is outrageous.
Fantastic finish. The course fought back yesterday. We talked about it. I thought the course would play tougher. I tell you what, my guy, DeChambeau, I shouldn't say my guy, but the guy I picked did not have a good day. It was a rough day at the office for him. Roy McIlroy, not with the best day either. It was a tough day for a lot of them. Look, man, I said this. It's sometimes fun. We don't know, amateurs. We don't know how tough Augusta was yesterday. We see the scores. We see 12 guys that shot under par. There's not a lot of you out there that probably shoot or that are a scratch golfer. A lot of you are probably great fathers, great mothers. You have far more important things in life than making it to the course every day to practice. You got jobs you got to hold down. You got kids you got to raise. You don't have necessarily the time to get out there and be a great golfer. So when you see golfers struggle, regardless of how difficult the course is, because again, we're not playing. It's hard to fathom. It's hard to understand the speed of the greens, the wind that might have been blowing, whatever it might have been that made the course hard. When golfers look like us, it can be a little bit more entertaining. And so yesterday, really good time. Enjoyed watching it. Actually made it out to Top Golf as well last night. Got invited, went out to the Top Golf at Williams-Brice Stadium. Talk a little about that later. It was an interesting experience. I'll actually be back there today too with a buddy of mine. Chris Search is going to take me out there at 2 o'clock. So apparently I'm a popular person right now. But busy day yesterday. Busy day between the Masters and everything else going on. Hopefully you had a great Thursday and you're gearing up for a great Friday. We got a lot going on here. We'll get into the Masters. We'll talk about that a little bit more. South Carolina yesterday, talking players, talking. It'll be kind of interesting. We might see if we can get into a little bit of what the Kerryon Joyner and Josh Vann had to say. They were both kind of interesting wide receivers talking yesterday. 8:05 this morning. Our buddy Clemson Jim is going to be fired up for this. Jim Corley, who's already on the live stream. We've got strength and conditioning coach Luke Day will join us. Jim, of course, one of the bigger Gamecock fans that joins us each and every morning. Actually, he's just jealous. He was raised in the wrong family. and he is just jealous, and he's on the live stream now, and he's being all bitter on a Friday morning. We love him. We're trying to cheer him up a little bit. But Luke Day, South Carolina strength and conditioning coach, Luke Day will join us at 8:05 this morning, and we're gonna try it. We're gonna try and have him on the live stream. So if you're not subscribed, you need to get on over, go to YouTube.com, search 107.5 The Game. You can subscribe, you can watch, and you can join us this morning. I look a little bit asleep. Patrick looks cheery. Peppy, did you get a haircut, by the way?
Yeah, I got a haircut yesterday.
Good. Look good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. Everybody that gets on the live stream, they can see my haircut. And if you subscribe, that gives you the ability to comment. And when we have Coach Day on, if you ask a good question on the live stream, I have the ability to just pop your questions up, and you can ask Luke Day a question yourself.
There you go. Yeah. So you can do that. If you want to join us this morning, there are other ways. You don't have to join the live stream. We prefer you do it. We enjoy it when you join the live stream. But if you want to join us this morning, 803-404-6100 is how you can do so. That's the Cool Care Heating and Air text line or the Love Chevy phone. Let's Gamecock Larry already on hold. We'll get to him. Gamecocks with a big series this weekend against Missouri. We'll discuss that a little bit. They've got to win the series. There's no question about that. I mean, you've got to keep the momentum rolling. You can make the argument, and I think, Patrick, this goes back to what we talked a little bit about on Monday with momentum and how fans feel, maybe even baseball and momentum. You can make the argument, given the remainder of the games, or the remainder of the weekend series against SEC teams, Missouri, one of the worst teams in the league. You can make the argument that South Carolina might need to sweep this weekend, given that it's home. I don't know if I would say that very often, but given that it's at home, given where Missouri stands, given where South Carolina, or given who South Carolina has to play coming down the stretch, that's asking a lot. Maybe it's being a little unrealistic, but at the same time, when you look at the remainder of the schedule, maybe you do say this is a weekend where you have to take all three ball games here. The Gamecocks sitting right now 19-8, 6-3 in league play. Missouri 10-17, 3-6 in league play. So that kind of just gives you an idea. It's going to be a series or a 3-game series the Gamecocks should win. Can they hold on and maybe do that? Not only do that, but sweep the series. We'll get into that a little bit again. South Carolina football players speaking as well. And this morning, again, 8:05 a.m., roughly in that time period, Gamecock strength and conditioning coach Luke Day will join us. Patrick, I was thinking about this. He seems super peppy. A strength and conditioning coach has got to be he's got to be super peppy, right? Like you've got to be,
for sure.
Do you have to be peppy, or do you have to be a little bit out of the ordinary? Which one do you think is more important? Because I've seen Craig Fitzgerald in my time, and I've really paid attention. It started with Craig Fitzgerald. Everybody really brought up Craig Fitzgerald under Steve Spurrier, the strength and conditioning coach, and it went to Joe Connolly, and then it went on to Jeff Dillman, and now you've got Luke Day. It feels like super loud, super peppy, and a little bit off the wall is how you would describe these strength and conditioning coaches.
Well, any exercise coach, whether you're teaching a spin class at the local YMCA or whatever, or coaching a college strength coach, because you're the one that has to get everyone energized to work out. Like, it's the thing that you don't want to do, the thing that you want to do the least. Like, the coach might not need to get guys motivated for practice because they're going to be out there hitting and doing what they love to do, playing football. But when it comes to lifting and doing all the little things that you probably don't want to do, but that you absolutely need to do to get better, that's where the strength coach comes in. Plus, I'm pretty sure they lift early in the morning. Like, we're getting him at 8:00. We're getting day 8:05. Is that after lifts this morning?
I don't know. We'll find out. If it's in the middle of lifts, then we've interrupted whatever they're doing. Shane Beamer will not be happy with us, and I would assume neither will the rest of the university if we're interrupting the lifting at 8:05 a.m.
Radio
would be good radio. It would be interesting radio, that's for sure. I think more than likely they will be done. I'm assuming South Carolina's in school. Not being a college student now for the last 14 years, I'm not real sure of the schedule, but I would assume that they're going to be done and off to class at 8 o'clock for some fun Friday morning, 8 a.m. class. Did you ever have an 8 a.m. class on a Friday?
No, I never had a Friday class.
Yeah, boy, good job.
I was good about that. I actually think no, I had a one. I think Spanish 101 or something like Spanish 110. I think I had on Fridays, but that was one Friday class in 4.5 years college.
Yeah.
I was a good scheduler.
Okay. All right. That's actually an excellent job on your part there to schedule and to know how to do that. Again, if you want to join us this morning, 803-404-6100, how you can do so. Yeah, the Masters yesterday, very entertaining. I like it when you see guys struggle. Struggle well is actually Luke Day's motto, but I like it when you see guys struggle. That's exactly what we saw yesterday. It was a difficult course. Justin Rose, as Patrick mentioned, gets hot, finishes 7 under on the day, 4 shots clear of Brian Harman and Hideki Matsuyama. Then you've got Will Zalatoris at 2 under. I don't know why the guys with difficult names to pronounce were at 2 under, but there was 2 of them, Will and Christian. And then you had Webb Simpson and Patrick Reed at 2 under. Patrick Reed, man, I was at a local establishment hanging out, bunch of friends, watching the Masters. Fun to get back together and hang out and be able to enjoy some sports. Not that I didn't know. I mean, I've kind of admitted, like, I don't really mind Patrick Reed. I kind of like a villain, and Patrick Reed seems to embrace the villain role. Patrick Perret, as I try to figure out how to transition to ask you that, man, where I was at yesterday, he was despised. Like, people really, really did not like Patrick Reed, and he missed a putt late in the round, and people were cheering in the restaurant that I was at and having a really good time celebrating him taking a bogey and dropping to 2 under. Is he the biggest? Because I feel like DeChambeau has worked his way up, and Bryson DeChambeau, if it wasn't for the Bay Hill a few weeks ago, I think it was Bay Hill, where he was hitting drivers and celebrating with the crowd and having a really good time. He shot 76 yesterday, by the way. If it wasn't for him, I feel like Patrick Reed would be the unquestioned villain of the PGA Tour. But I feel like DeChambeau's pushing him. Is Reed the unquestioned villain on the PGA Tour?
Yes. Because the thing about him is no one likes him. Like, there's nothing redeemable about Patrick Reed.
Well, he was really good.
Yeah, he's really good, but that doesn't make him. Anything likable about him.
He earned the moniker Captain America for his play in the Ryder Cup and for some of the things that he did. Remember, he was. I know you say there's no redeeming qualities, but there were people that liked him when he was.
Well, they cheered for him when it's your country being represented, sure, but that's it. I mean, Bryson is not necessarily the number one villain. Most people probably do hate him, but he's at least more polarizing versus just being hated like Patrick Reed is, because he's at least doing things that are like you want to watch. Bryson is as close to appointment television as there is in golf right now, because he's doing things legitimately like mind-blowing. Watching him drive, where he's like speed driving, where he's just like putting a ball down, psyching himself up and hitting like 10 drives in a minute, just ridiculous stuff like that. He's entertaining and brings something to the game that Patrick Reed does not. He's just out there playing really good golf and cheating and being hateable.
803-404-6100. Who's the biggest villain in sports right now? You got an answer for that?
Well, I don't know, because villain versus who's the most polarizing is distinction. Because like LeBron's probably the most polarizing, but it's literally people hate him or love him.
Right. No,
whereas straight villain, almost unanimously hated.
Yeah. Who is the biggest villain in sports? Is it? I don't. Yeah. Look, again, we've talked about this. Golf is a bit of a niche sport. I get it. Some of you don't watch it. We say the name Patrick Reed, and you're like, who? Never heard of him. Couldn't pick him out of a lineup of 2 people. I get that. That's fine.
I'm going to say one right now that is probably going to fire up a segment of people listening right now. But he used to be beloved. Oh, DC just beat me to it on the live stream. Used to be beloved, but I think most people have just gone full turn on this guy, and it's Dabo.
Who is the biggest villain in sports? 803-404-6100. How you can join us this morning? Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Who is the big? Not who do you dislike? Who do you think is the biggest villain? Are you going? Because I
really think Dabo's up there, because it used to be ESPN would do all these profiles on him, and it was cool, and it was just all shucks, little old Clemson and Dabo, and now they're a powerhouse, and he's still trying to do the same shtick, and everyone is just over it. Yeah. And he's putting his foot in his mouth all the time, like talking about the paying players and all that stuff, like very unpopular takes. I don't think he has many fans outside of Clemson right now.
I would lean toward Patrick Reed when I say, and here's why I'm asking, or here's where I'm changing the question a little bit this morning. 803-404-6100. Who's the biggest villain in sports, in your opinion? I would probably say Patrick Reed, but a lot of you probably don't know who Patrick Reed is. So that wouldn't make him. That's probably the guy that I dislike the most in sport. And to be honest, I actually don't dislike Patrick Reed.
That's why you're skewed on it, because you are the only person that doesn't hate Patrick Reed.
Yeah, I'm not anti Patrick Reed. I'm trying to think of who I would vote for as most disliked. I actually probably would vote for DeChambeau if you're asking my personal opinion over who I think it is. But I don't think golfers by and large have enough of the sports population following them to know who Patrick Reed is. I'll say I think a lot of you out there may not even know who Patrick Reed is. Totally understandable. Anonymous texter weighs in. This is a good one. 803-404-6100. Anonymous texter says, biggest villain, Houston Astros as a whole. And it's a good answer. It's a good answer. That fits. So
because there's very few that we're all on the same side of. Like, a lot of people would probably say, or would have said maybe before this year where people started liking him again, but Bill Belichick or Tom Brady, like, they were villains to some, but also some people just respect them. And if you hated them, because they're winning. Like,
we'll continue this discussion. Biggest villain in sports. And again, it's a little bit of a different question, because who you dislike the most might not be who you realize is the biggest villain. Draymond Green is somebody, he's in the news a lot right now for things he's said and whatnot, but his attitude and what he does, some people may view him as a huge villain. So we'll get into that. Who do you think, though, is the biggest villain in sports? We'll talk Masters. Obviously, yesterday, a lot of fun. It'll kick off again today. Tee times will flip. By the way, did you see Rory McIlroy yesterday? Not just his score, but did you see what he did? Because a couple things we'll get into with the Masters, one of which was the crowds yesterday. Interesting to see the overhead shots. McIlroy shoots 4 over 76. He's right there with Sergio Garcia and DeChambeau yesterday in that group that shot 4 over. But did you see what McIlroy did?
No.
You know, he hit a spectator with a golf ball.
Oh, his dad?
His dad.
Yes, I did hear that.
He hit his dad.
Didn't see it.
I don't know how you go about hitting your father with a golf ball in a golf tournament. McIlroy yesterday, again, 76, blows up early on. We'll see if he can fight his way back today. If you want to join us this morning, again, Cool Care Heating and Air text line, 803-404-6100. You can also get in touch with us via the Love Chevy phone lines. Gamecock Larry, not a villain. We'll get to him in a minute, get his takes on who the biggest villain is. Some of you are weighing in. Jason saying Deshaun Watson. Nick weighing in with just Alabama. Jim saying Urban Meyer. We got a bunch of them. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette here on 107.5 The Game. The game is on the air. Do Crowder here. That's right. You've been watching the Masters, maybe in a man cave. Maybe you don't have a man cave. Maybe you had to go, like me, to an establishment, hang out with a bunch of your friends, and you don't really like your friends. You just want to watch the Masters or any other event, sporting event, by yourself. Totally understandable. Totally understandable. I get that way sometimes, but you don't have a man cave. You're looking for a new home with a man cave, and right now is a great time to be looking. Interest rates are extremely low, and I tell you what, a mortgage guru out there can help save you money. Good news for you. I've got a mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank. Give him a phone call this morning, 803-719-1005. Jacob's helping people save $200, $300, $400 a month. You can be one of those people right now, whether you're looking to refinance your existing mortgage payment or you're looking to purchase a new home. He's even added to his team. Brian Kovar joining the team to help even more customers now. And Brian's favorite movie is Hoosiers, and it's such a good time right now with interest rates. He is using that famous line from Hoosiers, don't get caught watching the paint dry, to tell you, don't get caught missing a golden opportunity with low interest rates. Give Brian and Jacob a call today, 803-719-1005. You can email Jacob, the letter J, Crowder, CROWDER at firstpalmetto.com is the way to do that. That phone number again, 803-719-1005. He's Jacob Crowder, the mortgage guru with First Palmetto Bank. All right. Couple text messages in, couple of you guys weighing in. Jim.
Right, so I'll tell you when we're on the way coming back, and we'll just knock another one out, and we'll just knock some of these things out of the way.
Just you got to give me a heads up on AAA because I'm still having to read the script because I'm learning.
Okay.
So whenever we've got AAA, you got to give me a little bit more of a heads up so I can pull that one.
Yeah, we'll do that at that'll be the 7:20.
All right, 7:20. Okay.
But yeah, you're gonna do Love on the back end here, and then in the 6:40, you're gonna do Corley. Got it.
Wait, on the back. Oh, what?
Before we go back into this segment, in about 5 minutes,
Love, and then at 7:40, do Corley. Got it.
Yeah, but 6:40, going into the next break, you're gonna do Corley.
Okay.
Or you do Corley. Yeah.
Okay.
7:20 is AAA.
Cool. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Jim got off of the live stream and went to the text message. Oh, boo. If Jim's still on the live stream, we're going to make fun of him on the radio now. You can't start on the live stream and go to the text message. You can't do that. You can't back out like that. What a
Sonny, you fell asleep at between 6 o'clock and 6:09?
I do that too. I would do that too. I think Patrick has one of the first iPhones ever made. What do you got, Patrick? What's your phone? Sonny's in on your phone.
I had what did I have? Like a 5 or something like that, maybe a 6. But I had to get a new one, and they didn't have my phone anymore. So now I have, I think, a 9 or a 10. I think I have a 10.
It's time. I've got to upgrade the old phone here. I've got the 10.
I was really unhappy to get rid of the button.
Djokovic, is that right, in tennis?
Probably.
Is that okay? All right, we got a couple. We got a couple. We'll stir the pot. We'll push the Dabo narrative. We'll be Gamecock Radio for a few hours. We don't have any. You don't have any audio from the players yesterday. Marion Brown or Joyner or anybody, do you?
No, the only one I actually listened to was Justin Turrentine.
Okay.
Ugh. Why would anyone want to be an Android user? That's Tim.
Yeah, Tim stays away from.
Ruins all our group messages.
Yeah, he answered back yesterday. I think he's ready to come home. When Tim starts texting back, you know he's had about enough of whatever he's doing.
Yeah. You got 90 seconds, Bill.
Okay.
At the end of this NFL. There will be a minute of spots at the end of this NFL Network update. Oh yeah, we gotta get
still on hold.
Yeah, I was gonna say we gotta get Gamecock later this segment.
Is there something in particular he wants to talk about, or?
Yeah. Baseball.
Baseball?
Yeah.
Okay. Am I going after Napa, or is there another spot after Napa?
It doesn't show me how many spots there is. You have 50 seconds. I'll
Yeah.
tell you when it's just like an automatic. This is a national break, so I'll tell you when there's like 10 seconds left.
Okay. Thank you, Sonny. Yeah, we are a different show. We're not for everybody. We don't.
When you say you guys, does that mean Bill and Patrick, or does that mean the early game in general?
I think the early game in general.
All right, 20.
All right. Love Chevy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 seconds. Three, two, one. You're up.
Big things this morning. Big things. Lots to discuss, lots to talk about as we come back and get excited for the Masters. We also want to share great news from the Love Chevrolet family. That's right. They are proud to announce that thanks to incredible loyalty, Chevrolet has once again presented Love Chevrolet with the Mark of Excellence Award for 2020. Now you ask, what is that? Well, it's not just any trophy that you put in the case. The Mark of Excellence Award, now given to Love Chevrolet, is the highest honor any Chevrolet dealership can receive. It's only given out to a handful in the country each year. The Mark of Excellence represents Love Chevrolet's commitment to providing you with the absolute best sales, service, and customer care, like the largest selection to choose from, over 14 acres to be exact. And of course, Love Chevrolet has got you taken care of with financing options for all of life's situations. It's buy here, pay here, right there, all the way up to 0% financing for 72 months. Go find out for yourself. Visit Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. Love Chevrolet's family wants to thank you for 60 amazing years and making them South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealership. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, or on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
Download the TuneIn app so you can take 107.5 The Game with you wherever you go. And now, back to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
All right, new rule on the early game. You can't start on the live stream with your hot takes and then move to the text line unless you have a great reason. And Jim in Carolina Beach, Jim Corley, Jim, the Clemson fan, has done just that. We shamed him off of the live stream, even though we appreciate him. I enjoy Jim, the Clemson fan's banner. He gets the show. He gets the show, Patrick. I have no problem with him. He tries to cut up and have fun with us each and every morning. He's an entertaining guy. I appreciate his contributions to the program, but you can't do that, right? That's a new rule for the program. You become the biggest villain out there if you start on the live stream where we can see you or interact, and then you jump over to the text message because I feel like we shamed you off the live stream, right?
Or what we busted our friend Billy doing last week and continued to do yesterday, which was text us in response to what we're talking about on the live stream. So Billy has texted this morning, so he is listening. We know he's listening right now. And Billy, you can't text in about the conversation on the live stream. You got to make an account and subscribe.
Right.
Those is the rules.
We even I don't think she's up and with us just yet. We even apparently bullied Hope into putting up an avatar of herself. So yeah, we're mean on that thing. We're not nice. We're setting rules and going with them. And yeah, you can't start on the live stream and then jump over to the text message line. If you want to be a part of the program, though, you can do so. We welcome all of you. We've been cutting up about it on the live stream. We're not a typical morning sports talk show. I don't even know if sometimes if we consider ourselves a sports talk show. We like to get into a bunch of different things. Right now, one of the things that we're talking about is the biggest villain in sports. Who do you think the biggest villain in sports is? Not necessarily who do you dislike the most, but who do you think the biggest villain is? Anonymous texter AC weighs in, says the Brooklyn Nets are doing a pretty good job of bringing together the most unlikable people in the NBA. Another anonymous texter, WT, says Floyd Mayweather, villain of the boxing world. That's a pretty good one. Another anonymous texter. This one actually, no, John, listening in Somerville. Thank you, John. For NASCAR, I'd say the villain would be Joey Logano, although there's a lot of unfair hate directed towards Bubba Wallace. Is Joey Logano? Look, I wouldn't say we're a NASCAR show, but I feel like there's 3 or 4 people that Jen would put ahead of Joey Logano. Joey Logano's not up there, is he?
If Joey Logano knocked on my front door, I would not know who he was. So I could not tell you. Kyle Busch is the only one I know that's known as a villain.
Yeah. Ryan weighs in. Biggest villain in sports, Mark Emmert, and the NCAA as a whole nationally. Locally, Ryan says Mike Bobo, just because I need to focus my frustration, anger left over from last year. Understandably, Mike Bobo certainly drawing it. Villain used to be A-Rod, now Kyle Busch, according to Kenny. And Matthew and Landrum says biggest villain, Barry Bonds, taking Hank Aaron's home run record on steroids, and they never took his home runs away. Barry Bonds still a villain? Have we moved on from that one?
No, I think he's almost a sympathetic figure at this point because a lot of people are just upset that he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Is he? Have we moved on from that?
I don't know. I mean, I was very young for a lot of the Barry Bonds hysteria. I don't necessarily remember it that well. I don't even remember him being a villain. I just remember liking to watch him.
803
players actually wanted to watch.
Yeah, 803-404-6100. Is Barry Bonds still a villain? Yes or no? All you got to do is type in yes or no. We'll know what you're talking about. 803-404-6100. Yes or no? Barry Bonds still a villain. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Gamecock Larry, not a villain. At least we don't think he's a villain. Has waited patiently to talk a little Gamecock baseball. Good morning, young man. How are you doing today? How do you feel?
I'm doing okay, Bill. Pat, but I'm going to tell you something. I think a little bit of Tim has run off on Bill. Put him as host, and boy, he can talk. That's all right. He give me a few more minutes today. My villain is Muskrat and Bobo. They are the cause of Letsky leaving. They're the cause of DK being treated the way he was treated. And number 2 is Kumar is human. I think he gave up about 6 runs last night, and didn't we beat Georgia in the Series last week? And then Georgia, I think, beat them about 16-2 or something like that. And the number 3 is, what was I going to say? I don't forget what number 3 is. Oh, yeah. But I'm going to tell you something. All you people, you put something on a message. I don't know how to text. I'm an old man. I don't know nothing about this newfangled stuff. But let me tell you something. All you Legion of Doom. Old Gamecock Larry got his second COVID shot. I got my scooter ready. I share my living in my kitchen. And I'm fixing to load up on you guys. I'm going to start calling and talk about you on the phone, what kind of message you've been leaving me. But all you Gamecock fans, stick in there. Shane Beamer is going to take us to the Final Four in 2024. Tim, he'll have a lot to talk about Monday morning because Frank Moore is going to be retained. We got a few guys coming back. It's in the portal and then the NBC. What's that basketball? NBC, I guess. No, it ain't NBC. What's that? NFL? Bill, tell me what that basketball is. NBA. But we gonna They gonna few of them coming back. We're gonna be loaded next week, next year, and baseball's gonna go to the World Series, and that's about all I got to say. But I'm sure glad that Tim, this Frank Martin stuff's gonna break before Tim gets back, because he'll have a whole lot of time to think about what he's gonna say. He'll be talking at least an hour and a half next Monday morning about Frank Martin. Oh yeah, we're gonna sweep this weekend series in Missouri. Go Gamecocks! That's all I got to say. Go Gamecocks!
I think we're just going to do the radio show the way Gamecock Larry wants us to do the radio show, Patrick. Just now it's 6:40, 2 hours and 20 minutes of silence.
I was hoping you would just. I was halfway hoping you would just send it right to break as soon as his phone call ended. I was thinking about just running the break.
Just
It's
not
the
going to
Gamecock
talk.
Larry show now.
We are becoming too much like Tim Hill. We just talk on a sports talk on a talk show. We talk too much. Of course,
We gave him all the time he needed. He got everything out.
I'll say this: you can't tell us we talk too much and then you talk without taking a breath for almost 3 minutes. It doesn't work that way. The Gamecock Larry, you're Tim Hill. You are Gamecock Larry Hill is now what we will refer to. A lot of talking in that. 803-404-6100. Glad you're feeling good this morning. Hope you have a great weekend, big guy, and always appreciate you listening. A couple people weighing in, and this is all we need. Yes, Rooster P. Alan. Yes, Billy is telling us he watches on Xbox.
Billy actually did give a great.
He
That
did?
was the best answer to that
Okay.
because I've done the same thing. Watch it on the Xbox. You can't type. So
Gotcha. Yep. And Steve-O says yes times 100. And if you're wondering what the yes answer is Barry Bonds still a villain? We're looking for the biggest villain in sports right now. Just based on yesterday, I was at an establishment and hanging out, enjoying the Masters with friends, and man, people got really, really excited when Patrick Reed made a bogey, and it got me thinking, like, is he the biggest villain in sports? I think because it's golf, and because maybe some of you, as you pointed out this week, are not big golf fans and you don't care about the Masters, it's hard for me to say a golfer is the biggest villain in sports. We're getting a lot of really good answers. Anonymous texter, John says yes, hard yes on Barry Bonds being still a villain. So, yeah, we've got a couple of you weighing in on that. We'll get to more of your biggest villains. We'll continue on this morning. It's a Friday morning. The sun's going to rise. The Masters will head to round 2. Gamecocks in Missouri. And as both of you are all pointing out, or as all of you are pointing out, yes, Dabo Swinney, still maybe the biggest villain in this state. And we all agree with you right here on the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game. You're listening to the early game, 6:42 on a Friday morning. Hope you're up and at 'em and having a great morning. Patrick Brett, Bill Gunner. We'll be right back after this.
all right, Corley.
It is a truly great morning. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. It's going to be one of those weekends maybe you want to go jump in your pool. The question is, have you got it cleaned? Is all the pollen out of your pool? If not, it is 6:43 in the morning, and Tracy Corley is ready. He and Corley Pool Solutions right now, I can guarantee you can give them a phone call, 803-445-8109. I can guarantee you they are ready to get that pool clean so you can enjoy it this weekend. Don't wait around. Give a guy who has over 20 years of experience in the industry a phone call to get to your house and get that pool clean so you and your family can enjoy it. 803-445-8109. Flat rate pricing, including all the chemicals, is what Tracy Corley and Corley Pool Solutions do. It's actually cheaper than going to the store and buying everything and doing it yourself. It's also just, quite frankly, a lot easier to have somebody else, a professional that knows what they're doing, take care of it. So don't miss an opportunity to enjoy the weekend with your family. Lay out by the pool, watch a golf tournament, maybe some baseball, but more importantly, relax and enjoy the pool that you purchased. Do it by making sure a professional maintains it. 803-445-8109. Again, pool maintenance at a flat monthly rate. Don't wait around. Give Tracy Corley and his team a call today. Corley Pool Solutions, 803-445-8109.
Click.
Oh, good Lord. Tell you what, I feel like people are getting the sense of the show, but my goodness, a guy, Rich, just texted in, and this is, I wouldn't mention this on air. I won't mention it on air. But he said Phillip Adams. My goodness, Rich, on the text message, like, let's keep it light and loose this morning. We're picking on Jim. Terry is my wife that graduated from South Carolina and North Carolina. Oh, it's good. So she picked the best school to go to in South Carolina and North Carolina, and then picked you, Jim. Well, we can't all be perfect. She made one mistake. That's okay. One mistake.
I had to feed Gamecock. I fed Gamecock Larry some stats again this morning.
What stats were those?
Well, he was saying something about Kumar Rocker. He's like, I saw Rocker gave up 3 runs, and I was like, actually, he gave up 6. Vanderbilt lost 14-2.
Oh well. Again, can't get everything right.
That was more runs than Kumar Rocker has probably given up in his last 15 starts.
Off night.
Well, he still had 12 strikeouts.
Todd weighs in his humble opinion. It's 100% confirmed this morning that Tim Hill is the glue that holds the morning show together. Good luck, Phil. Clemson Allen says Shane Beamer going to win 4-24. Oh, I went to that Top Golf last night. That was something. I'm going to go back today and tomorrow. And I feel like I'm going too many times.
Yeah, 3 days in a row is a lot.
It's neat, but it's kind of after I don't even like going to I'm not a driving range person. I'm not a driving range person. And so after 30 minutes, it's just extremely expensive beer and hitting golf balls towards the 50-yard line. Good morning, Trey. Good morning, RL. Steve, Kyle Busch, and NASCAR. I like that. Yep, Kyle Busch is definitely. So Patrick Reed tees off at 2 this afternoon.
Why do I look like I'm dying? That doesn't sound good.
I think he was pointing out that you were laughing.
I should have put a stopwatch on it. How long do you think Gamecock Larry went? 5 minutes?
Just let him go. We just let him go. We let him go. He circled back to that baseball thing a couple times. Got sidetracked a couple times with some Kumar Rocker and Vanderbilt. Lost track.
If he was gone a couple more minutes, I would have just started the break. I think that would have been funny. All right. Last spot.
Last spot.
Morning, RL. You're up.
6:49 on a beautiful, it's going to be a beautiful day, a beautiful weekend, Friday morning. Hope you're doing well out there, getting up, getting moving, maybe enjoying a little coffee, getting the kids to school. Kids, if you're in the car, be nice to your parents. They're working very hard to get you to school, which I'm sure you love. So be nice to your parents. Be sweet to them. Go to bed early tonight, maybe, and then make them get you a donut tomorrow since it's Saturday morning. Tell them Bill Gunner from 107.5 The Game said you get donuts on Saturday morning. They'll understand. Everybody else, I hope you're doing well out there. Bill Gunner, Patrick Brett, Tim, and Jen will be back. Don't worry, as Todd says on the text message. Todd weighs in his humble opinion. It's 100% confirmed this morning that Tim Hill is the glue that holds the morning show together. Good luck, fellas. I think we've done well, Patrick, this week. I think you and I mean,
maybe it's been a little less organized and we bounce around a little bit. He does keep us focused, but I think it's entertaining when we bounce around. I like it.
He's like the strict father that doesn't like to have any fun whatsoever. It's just if you start to have fun, he says, "Let me stop you right there," and then we go back to all serious discussions. So, and then Jen is like, well, Jen's just kind of aggressive, to be honest. I mean, it's been nice this week not to have Jen making snarky comments left and right. I'm allowed to be more of myself and be silly. So we hope you've had a good week. Hopefully you're heading toward a good weekend. Again, Gamecocks in Missouri, 3-game series over at Founders Park. Gamecocks. Patrick, do you agree with me here? They need to sweep, like, given the remainder of the series, who you're playing, given that Missouri does not have a winning record. I get it. Winning the series, winning 2 out of 3 is certainly not anything to feel bad about. I'm not trying to say that it's a failure if South Carolina only wins 2 out of 3. I'm just pointing out that when you look at the fact that it's a home series, that Missouri's 10-17, that you're about to play 4 of the top 6 teams in the country, that you're trying to fight for. I don't know what the situation is going to be with hosting a regional and super regional, so forth and so on. But when you take everything into account, do you agree with me that this is kind of one you kind of need to sweep just because it really gives you that extra cushion at 9-3 in conference play?
A little bit of cushion. I mean, it'll make it easier for you down the road, or maybe put less pressure on you to take series or steal series against top 5 teams. But when you're talking about, I think the bigger issue is that you haven't had much road success. I mean, I think they've won. Somebody texted in. I think they were right. I can go back through the schedule and double check, but I think they've only got 3 road wins on the year so far. So with LSU up next after Missouri this weekend, you're going to Baton Rouge. You have a chance to potentially win a series in Baton Rouge. LSU's not as strong as they might be in most years, but they're still 18-11, and they've had just a ridiculously brutal start to their schedule. Just top 5 team after top 5 team. So yeah. Getting a sweep at home against one of the worst, if not the worst SEC team is probably important, but it's not the end of the world if you don't do it, because it doesn't really matter. Like Gamecock Larry mentioned it, Vanderbilt lost 14-2 yesterday to Georgia, who you just took care of business with last weekend. Kumar Rocker gave up 6 runs, still had 12 strikeouts, but clearly anything can happen on any given day in the SEC. So yeah, you want to sweep. You'll feel really good about a sweep, but if you take 2 out of 3, it's just the most important thing is winning series right now.
Yeah, I mean, you do obviously you've got to win the series this weekend, but I do think this is one where you look at and you say, okay, probably need to sweep this. 9-3 through 4 series would be fantastic. I don't know after the Texas series if people would have expected that. Certainly during that 6-game losing streak, people would not have expected that. But if you can get to 9-3, you'd feel really, really good about your opportunities over the next 4 or 5 weeks here as South Carolina continues through SEC play. We'll continue to discuss that, get into a little bit of football discussion. Gamecock wide receivers, Josh Vann, Dakarian Joyner, even Amarion Brown speaking yesterday. We'll talk a little bit about the Masters as well. And I guess we'll need to debate this. Gamecockville or Cruella DeVille. Obviously, you don't listen to the show if you think you do well without Tim. Gamecockville is just I think I do well without Tim. I think I do great. It's like your opinion, man. I think I do really good.
2 days in a row, just pure saltiness in
Just
Gamecock.
angry. Need a hug, buddy. Get some coffee. Enjoy a Friday morning. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette. You're listening to The Early Game. 107.5.
Can't tell if Gamecock Will's a jokester or what.
Yeah, I don't know.
'Cause yesterday he was the one that said, "What's worse than golf on TV? Golf on radio?" And then seemed like he was kind of. I don't know. I don't think he's joking. Maybe Gamecock Will just sucks.
Well, I don't know if you can be that bitter and be called Gamecock Will.
No, yes, he's bitter. I'm going back. He's bitter. He's being serious.
And Frank gives us a B-, which I think is a little low. I'd say the Monday, Tuesday programs were really good. Wednesday we ran out of content. Yesterday was fine, and I feel like the first hour we've done really well.
DC says Tim needs his own show. Is that like a? I can't tell if that's a shot or just a hey, you guys are doing well. Tim should do his own show, and Patrick and Bill should do a show.
Hates America, loves it. The answers we've gotten today from everybody on this are actually pretty entertaining because I feel like people are being very serious. Like that one texter who sent in Philip Adams. I'm like, good Lord, buddy. Like,
yeah, no, that's terrible.
Yeah. Somebody messed up the article and it took me a minute because I couldn't remember Jarrell Adams. When I saw Adams, and I think like whatever article popped up on my feed yesterday, the way it said was like South Carolina, former South Carolina star, and it kind of had the headline. I was like, man, and I was like, oh, when I read it, I was thinking it was Jarrell Adams. It took me a minute to remember his name was Jarrell, not Philip.
I'd never heard of Philip Adams before, but dude, that was really sad.
Oh, the new bubble. Travis says that Tim will take away the bubble font that you got going.
I like the bubble font. I think the bubble font's solid.
Does it? You have to do it every morning, or does it stay up like that?
No, it just stays up. We got a couple options. That's the default. Minimal. Tim goes minimal. Of course he does. Block. I like the bubbles. I think they're fun.
Hey, if you got your email, can you email Coach Day?
I did.
Okay, you already sent the phone number?
Yeah.
Okay.
He didn't respond, but
I don't know if he checks his email.
I can always just back to the Travis's comment. I have his login now. I can just make the stream link before he gets a chance to and send it to you and him.
Really?
And I can just be the administrator. I can just steal his duties.
I think Tim would be happy to know he's getting a lot of love this morning for his hard work put into the program.
I feel like I could do a lot with control of the live stream. My idea would be to tweet out the link so that anybody can hop on and then just add people during the breaks.
I mean, we could have done that this week. Yeah. Because it's only a 1-day deal. You know, you send a new link every day.
Tim does always pop these things up during the like this stuff. Like these are already pre. I could do that, but I have can't do it while I'm producing as well.
Thank you, DC.
30 kid off of Bullers, man.
Yeah, I was slightly worried about this week just because I knew you were gonna have to produce and talk and handle so much. I was a little concerned. We've done
I'm an excellent multitasker.
Yeah. We haven't talked about it. Yeah, I was reading. Looks like Tony Morrell is they're ready to project Braden Davis to South Carolina. That'd be a big pickup right off the bat. Good. Thank you. All right. What do I got? I got AAA at 720.
Yeah.
Okay.
What did you get like a time frame for how long we were supposed to have day too? Was it like one long segment?
Yeah, we'll kind of hold him as long as we want to hold him until he starts to look a little iffy.
Like he's ready to go.
Yeah. But he seems like a fun guy. Seems like he will go well with the show.
I'm just unsure if he's actually going to be on it or not. Doesn't seem like someone that's consistently checking his email.
Yeah. Does he seem like a guy who definitely has his email connected to his phone?
Probably not. I bet it's the computer in the strength office in the middle of the weight room that once every couple days he'll pop on and just read the week's emails.
Scroll through the spam and
yeah.
Makes sense.
What time are tea times today? When's the first group?
I think 8 a.m.
Again.
I'm pretty sure 8 a.m. All right. About ready to come back. We got AAA. Ooh, sun coming up. Pretty.
Yep. You're up.
Yeah, that was an exchange, I believe, 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, between Jen and I, where we discovered that you don't really want to play golf with Jen Jensen. She's just out there like goofing off, cutting up. And this is from the one member of this team who actually played golf in high school. She played golf in high school. And yeah, so I don't know if you want to go riding around or participating in a golf tournament with Jen, who clearly doesn't take the game quite as serious as I do. Or Tim or Patrick for that matter. So anyway, welcome in on a Friday morning, sun rising up over Lake Murray. Bill Gunnerson here at my house. Patrick Perrett is at the studio. He is multitasking. He's done a fantastic job all week handling phone calls, running the live stream, producing the program. Tim and Jen will indeed be back on Monday, or at least that's what they're telling us. We expect them back. So all four of us will be back together, one big happy family. But for the next 2 hours, you get Patrick and I. If you want to weigh in and join us this morning, 803-404-6100, how you can do so. One of the questions we asked, well, we asked two questions last hour. one of which is who's the biggest villain in sports? Who do you think is the biggest villain in sports? Not who do you dislike the most, because look, a lot of people might dislike Patrick Reed, and that's how this conversation got started from golf yesterday. But I think also it can be realistic that golf is a niche sport and that not everybody knows who Patrick Reed is. Somebody texted in on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line and said Joey Logano. Patrick and I both agreed if there was 2 people in a room, not including us, we couldn't pick out who Joey Logano is. So it's hard for him to be a villain when we don't really know who he is. Probably the same thing for Patrick Reed. But there are other people out there. The Houston Astros and the Brooklyn Nets as a whole have been suggested. Barry Bonds was suggested, and that brought me asking, is Barry Bonds still a villain, or have we moved past that? Some of you have weighed in. Billy weighed in. Barry will always be a villain to old baseball fans. Frank W. weighed in. Is Bonds a villain? And he put all capital letters yes. He also gave us a grade for the week of B-, which I thought was a little extreme and low. But a couple of
Gamecock Will, though.
That's true. Yeah, Gamecock Will is giving us just a straight F. But he's no longer a Gamecock Will. I'm renaming him Cruella DeVille. Ray weighed in, and I think this was in relation because I said yes or no. We would know exactly what you're talking about. Just Barry Bonds, yes or no. Is he a villain? Yes or no. Ray said no. And I think that was in relation to the Barry Bonds thing. But I'm kind of interested. I know that Barry Bonds was a villain. I guess the question is, have we moved past him being a villain? Like, is he old news? Some people said Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor. I don't know. Is Conor McGregor still like? It feels like we've just moved past him. They're 15 minutes. Not that Barry Bonds was only 15 minutes, but it feels like we've moved past them and that they're old news and that they're no longer a villain. They're just a sideshow. And that's where I'm at with Barry Bonds. You agree with that?
Yeah, and to the point of the fighters, McGregor and Mayweather, that is a little different because they have a direct financial benefit to being villains. So, like, Mayweather fully goes full heel during all the promotion for his fights because it makes his fights by far the biggest pay-per-view fights there are. Like, what he made something outrageous, like $300 million or something like that for the McGregor fight, like a truly stupid number. And that's because people tune into Mayweather fights because they want to see Mayweather lose. And McGregor is the same way. Like, nobody in the UFC draws anything even remotely close to what Conor draws. And that's fully planned out by them in the process.
Mark on the live stream says Brooks Koepka is the villain.
I don't think that.
I don't think Koepka's. I don't know if I would label him a villain, but he definitely. I think he's more in what Patrick put as polarizing. You either kind of like him, or I just don't know if you label him a villain, Patrick, because of his attitude. I see that Tim is talking.
I don't even know if he's polarizing. Like, he doesn't do anything to. He doesn't try to upset anybody. He's more just like too cool for school type of guy. Mm-hmm. Like, that was the reason I like him, because he did that interview where he's like, yeah, I think golf should probably be like 12 holes or something like that. I get a little bored during the course of a round, and people, yeah, here he goes, because no one likes him. He's cocky and arrogant, and that equals villain. I don't even think he's cocky and arrogant. I just think he truly does get a little bored of golf, and he has said that he wishes he could have played other sports, but he broke his nose and had to play golf. And I think it's golf purists that don't like Brooks Koepka.
Yeah, I wouldn't label him a villain. Anonymous texter weighs in and says Conor McGregor not a villain. So yeah, a lot of different things. You can continue to weigh in on that this morning. 803-404-6100. How you can join us. The text line, Cool Care Heating and Air text line, or the Love Chevy phone lines. You can give us a call, discuss that with us. Talking a little Gamecock football as well. Wide receiver spoke yesterday. Josh Van DeCarrion Joyner. We'll get into that just a little and kind of cover what they had to say. There was a real interesting comment that did come from a wide receiver yesterday that I'll bring up real quick. Justin Turrentine, the starting left tackle, or expected to be starting left tackle, started the end of last year, was talking about playing for new offensive line coach Greg Atkins. And before I give you what he said, I like Eric Wolford. I knew Eric Wolford. I think Eric Wolford is a good coach. He's now obviously at Kentucky. Whether he left on his own or wasn't retained, I'm not 100% sure, because that was kind of one of those things where he had a relationship with Shane Beamer, and I don't know if Beamer just elected to go in a different direction, or if
Did Wolford not leave before Beamer was hired? I thought he did.
no, he left after I'm pretty sure he left after Beamer was hired. I don't think he stuck around. I don't know if he necessarily stuck around to see what his options were going to be, or maybe they'd already discussed that. But yeah, Wolford, I believe, left after Beamer was hired. But this is a quote from Justin Turrentine yesterday on new offensive line coach Greg Adkins. And I think it just speaks to me to the culture that maybe had been established under Will Muschamp. Turrentine was asked about his impressions. He said, so far it's been great. It's a different world with him. If you fail, he doesn't want you to instantly get out. If you fail in practice, you have time to fix your errors. He's always suggesting new things, and there's more than one way to do things. The way that he says that, the way that he said it about if he doesn't want you to instantly get out, there was a lot of discussion we would have about the way the business mentality that Will Muschamp brought to the program. And look, I'll be the first to admit I was wrong. For a while, I thought that that's exactly what South Carolina needed, that they needed a more business-like approach, that they needed guys that they needed a coach who was going to run it more like a company, less like a country club, which is what Steve Spurrier was kind of doing at the end. It was more of a lot of people say that it was a country club atmosphere. It was a little bit more laid back. I don't know if I agree with that anymore. I think I was wrong on that. I think the mindset that Muschamp and his coaching staff had and the way they went about doing things. I've talked to people who, obviously, when you lose, when you don't succeed in life, when you don't succeed in the business world, when you don't succeed in sports, life's not a lot of fun. And when you go 6-16 over 2 years, look, it stinks. It stinks for fans. It stinks for the coaches. It stinks for the players. There's nothing fun about it. So I get that the atmosphere down there was bad when you're losing games, when you're getting beat by Appalachian State, when you're getting your doors blown off by Clemson and Kentucky and Georgia and Texas A&M. I get it. Yeah, nobody's having fun. But what Justin Turrentine said, Patrick, I think is interesting because, again, it is just a window. It's a glimpse into what the former coaching staff and what the mentality was around that building when he says they don't instantly want you to get out and plug somebody else in. And I don't know, by the way, 803-404-6100, do you like that, what he said? Do you like what Justin Turrentine said about not being told to instantly get out when he messes up? Because some people I feel like are going to say, no, that's tough love. That's hard coaching. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, because we've seen this debate has been sparked in the last couple of years in basketball with Tom Izzo exploding on players on camera, like before halftime or on the bench and things like that. And that's what I was going to say is I think it's more of a new school coaching mentality. Like, obviously people like to say each generation is getting softer and kids are getting softer. And I actually think that's what Beamer might be ushering in is the era of like actually dealing with these kids the way that they need to be dealt with, whether that's the football mentality or not. Like, that's when I played football, that's what it was. If you screwed up, the coach is going to grab you and pull you out and say, if you're not going to do it right, someone else will, and throw somebody else in. And that might not be the best way to do it, I guess. It's just, I don't think it's right or wrong. And I think people will say, yeah, I love it. I love the way Shane Beamer's doing things because he can basically do no wrong at this point. But if the results aren't there next year, then they're going to be saying, yeah, we need some tough love in here. It can't just all be hugs. Can't just all be hugging each other and telling each other what a great job you're doing if you're not winning football games.
Coming up in an hour, 8:05 this morning, strength and conditioning coach Luke Day will join us. We'll talk with him a little bit about that. We'll talk about the Masters. We'll cut up with him. We'll have our regular radio program with Luke Day. We'll see how that goes. He has to fit us. We don't have to fit him. And look, you listen to us because we're probably a different radio program. He will join us at 8:05. He'll also join us, by the way, on the live stream. If you want to go to youtube.com and subscribe and watch, as Patrick pointed out, there's a comment section. You'll actually be able to ask comments or make comments, I guess, good or bad, now that I think about that out loud. But I just look, it's small. We're becoming football starved. We all love baseball. We all love, I'm a huge basketball fan. The Masters is awesome, but we're becoming football starved. And when you become football starved, you start to analyze and overanalyze every situation. that pops up. And in this situation with Justin Turrentine and what he said yesterday, it's just a glimpse. It's a glimpse into what the previous staff was. And I've said it, we got to let that go. But I do think there's a part of looking at it and analyzing it to see how the program is either changing or needs to be changed. And when you have a player say he enjoys playing for his position, Coach Moore, because I guess it comes across as you're not getting belittled or you're not getting yelled at as much. Maybe there's more positive reinforcement. And that is something that I don't think is a secret. I think if you've read the insiders, be it on the Big Spur or on Gamecock Central, if you've talked to people down there, there wasn't, it appears, there wasn't a lot of positive reinforcement from the previous staff. Now, again, Patrick, when you're 6-16 over 2 years, when you're 4-8 and then 2-8, there ain't exactly a lot of positive reinforcement to be given.
And the players still clearly loved that staff.
They did.
So it's not like right or wrong. I don't think it's just, there's not one way to coach.
Look, we've cut up with our Clemson fans. I'm going to just start calling him Clemson Will now, not Gamecock Will. He gets to be Clemson Will just because he's bitter. Clemson Allen, Clemson Jim. But we've cut up with him. Yeah, I count me in. I was one of the people early on in his career, in his tenure, that made fun of the rah-rah cheerleading approach that Dabo Swinney would have. But it worked. The positive reinforcement that Dabo Swinney would have in the media, publicly, for his players, for his team, it worked. And I'm not saying that Shane Beamer is going to that's what you're going to get. That we have no clue what's going to happen. But I'm with you, Patrick, and I think you make a good point. The new age way of coaching, which is, it is. It's a lot more positive reinforcement, a lot more praise, I guess, clapping, kind of hand holding, for lack of a better way of saying it, and helping kids than it is the old school mentality of, get in there, son, and if you don't get it fixed, I got a guy right here behind you. That only works at a place like Alabama where the guy behind him is another 5-star that if you mess up, he's taking your position.
Well, yeah, I wonder how I don't know. I don't think it only works at Alabama because there are coaches like that all over the place. Like there are hard coaches, tough love coaches still, and it still does work. I just think it's a personal preference thing, and I wonder if the transfer portal might actually play into that a little bit because in the old days, once we get you on campus, we've talked about the de-recruiting. Coaches say how they have to de-recruit kids and let them know, like, hey, now you're mine and you're going to do whatever I say and you're here for 4 years. Now that it's easier for kids to leave, maybe that mentality is more important where the tough love coaching or you got one chance, if you screw it up, get out and you might never get back in. Kids will be more likely to just leave the program if that's going to be the case. So, I do think it's definitely important to be more geared towards this generation style. You can't grab a kid by his face mask anymore, things like that. It's just different now.
The dog man weighs in on the text line, and it's a good point. That's what I mean about Alabama. He says you can coach your team with firmness, discipline, and a short leash if you have depth and talent to where you have competition because one pushes the other. And that's a good point. And that's kind of what I was saying there. 803-404-6100. How you can join us this morning. Get a little football discussion there. I just found that interesting. Just again, it doesn't mean that South Carolina is going to win the SEC or go to a bowl game, but it's just a glimpse into the program and seeing how it was and maybe what it is today, and how does that translate to South Carolina getting better and competing with teams and getting back to 8 or 9 wins a season, trying to be on that level. So just again, a glimpse there into what they're doing. Again, South Carolina, Missouri baseball, if you want to weigh in on that, gets going tonight. You can hear it right here on 107.5 The Game. And the Masters, of course, Justin Rose, 7 under yesterday, 4 shots clear of the rest of the field here. 12 under par yesterday, a very difficult day. You had Rory McIlroy and Bryson DeChambeau, both shooting 4 over 76s. Phil Mickelson fired a 75. Dustin Johnson doubling 18 to shoot a 74. But, 2+2, Patrick, we'll see what happens today. I feel like Johnson's still right there in the mix. Jordan Spieth, one of your guys, shoots a 1 under.
What did Morikawa shoot?
I was looking for
See him on
Morikawa.
there?
He shot a 73. He's 1 over.
Okay, we're fine. We're fine.
Yeah.
Justin Rose can't shoot 7 under every day.
I think that's exactly I don't know if he can do that. I don't know how this course will continue to play. I don't know how this course will.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. In his last 11 holes, he gets an eagle and 7 birdies. He was just on fire. He probably never wanted that round to end.
No, and maybe he carries it over today. Maybe he's got another 18 holes in him just like that. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in this morning. It is a wonderful Friday morning. It's going to be a great weekend. Off to a great start. Hope you're up and at 'em and in a good mood. Some of you on the text line are not. That's okay. You're being weird. Deal with that later. Keep on joining us, though. We appreciate everybody weighing in this morning. 803-404-6100. Again, you can join us on the live stream as well. Just go to youtube.com, search the early game, and you can find our YouTube page there, our channel. You can subscribe. You can watch. Luke Day set to join us at 8:05. Gamecock strength and conditioning coach Luke Day will join us at 8:05. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. Have I got AAA here? It is going to be a great weekend. Might be a little warm, though. And, of course, it is only April, which means June, July, August. Oh, those are fun months, right? Especially if your air conditioner is not working. Nobody is happy with you. The significant other, the kids, the dog, the cat, the whole family, they're very angry at you. Don't allow that to happen. Go ahead now. Give AAA Heating and Air a call. Have them come out. Do a check on your air conditioning unit, because I'm telling you what, that sucker goes out, you become the villain of your family, and that's not what you want to be. You want to be the prince of your family, or the princess, whichever one. And if you take care of your family by getting your heating and air unit checked on, they'll be happy. Trust me, that's the way it works. 803-677-1500. AAA Heating Air is a family-run business. It's why I believe in them. It's why I trust them. They take care of me. They'll take care of you. How about this? If there is an issue with your heating and air unit, they'll take it away. They'll actually take it away. They'll give you $1,500 savings to take it away, and they'll give you 0% financing and no money down on a new unit. That right there is taking care of you and your family. They've done it for me. They'll do it for you. Again, I believe in a family-run business. I know they're trustworthy. I can trust what they tell me, and that is important. Give AAA Heating and Air a call. 803-677-1500. Call them today and tell them Bill Gunner sent you. One guy on the text line really wants us to talk about the events in Rock Hill, and I'm not sure why. Like, I don't know what we gain or why that needs to be discussed. Rich.
I mean, let's just bring it up and be like, there's nothing to talk. Like, it's horrible.
I'm not bringing it up. Look, man, I mean,
what are we going to talk about? It's horrible. It's heartbreaking. It's devastating. It's like the worst thing you can imagine. It's terrible. Why would we talk about that?
I agree.
I just don't understand why they do this.
We could have a whole show on that and on the Darla Moore thing. That'd be a fun 3 hours.
Yeah, like, what are we doing?
All right, do I have something at 7:40?
No, I think you're done. Do you have any other sponsors?
Sleep Number.
Sleep Number. Yeah.
Sleep Number. I finally started sleeping good again. That only took a month and a half. Good grief. It had nothing to do with the bed, me being sick. This is what you get on the live stream. I got that viral infection. I mean, I got tested for COVID more times than I care to talk about over the last 6 weeks because every time you go to the doctor, they're like, "Oh, it's got to be COVID." They just keep getting negative tests. It's like, well, at some point, one of them's got to be positive. But I got that viral infection, and I was having sleeping. I was having cold sweats, and I'd wake up, like not like sweating because I had too many blankets. Like it was awful. That's finally stopped. I haven't been healthy in a while. Yeah, I guess we need to. That actually, RL. I guess we can bring up for a second later. That is a good point. Board of Trustees meeting today. Proposed contractual matters involving athletics employment agreement. Yeah, that actually, Frank Martin.
It's probably going to be our whole Monday show.
Well, that's what Gamecock. Don't feed Gamecock Larry's paranoia that Tim's coming back and spending all Monday talking about Frank Martin.
Mark, you're spot on with all of these, though. Albert Haynesworth is probably the most hated person in recent Washington history. He is the worst. Tanya Harding, also a villain. Good movie, though. I, Tanya. Would recommend. Really? Yeah. Margot Robbie plays her.
Oh. Yeah, Prince Philip. I don't know who Prince Philip is, but he did pass away. I see that now. It looks like a big deal. Oh, Will King. I'll get into that. Let's see. All right, we'll go back through villains. That'll unfortunately lead us into Frank Martin, which will lead us into the next break. Any NFL news that we need to get into?
No.
Nothing major?
I don't think there's anything.
Besides the Adams thing?
No. Washington football team rumored to be trying to trade up for Mac Jones.
Yeah, I mean, Carlton, there's no need to talk about. I mean, that's the point. Like, it's sad. You're right. Concussions and CTE, and I mean, it's just a sad story. It's not worth discussing. And I understand where you're saying that about make South Carolina State look bad. I don't think it's just unfortunate. There's no need to talk about it. It's not worth bringing up right now for us, for our show. I'm a big believer in you stick with the script of your radio show, and our show is lighthearted. There are certain days we have to discuss stuff that's not lighthearted. We had to do that last summer. Obviously, there were shows. Patrick, I think it was you and I and Jen who had to do a show. We had to do one of those shows after some of the marches and riots, and there was no Tim, and I think you and I were dreading doing it. We knew it had to be a much more serious show. And there are times that you deal with that, but that's not really what our show is about.
No, but this is local. I mean, we're not going to talk. Like, there's nothing to talk about. Like, it's not a discussion to have.
That's also a good point. You're right. It's not a discussion.
It's a horrible, horrible thing that happened, and reading the article ruined my whole day. Like, it's not a conversation. There's no points to be made. It's just horrible.
I'm with you. I gotta go to the cocktail thing again. Oh, old timer.
What is it today?
Oh, the South Carolina, Missouri basketball game, football game.
Shaw with a little magic. That is a fantastic job by Shaw and a great route run in the concept. Outside receiver goes inside receiver.
He's 99.
Back to the outside. All you're trying to do is gain leverage on the defender.
99 years old.
Good run.
It was a good run.
Finding clip of the day sponsored by
7:30 on what's going to be a very nice Friday. I think maybe a little rain expected. I'll look that up. Percentage, I think, bouncing around a little bit. Maybe some rain this weekend as well. But should be a fantastic weekend. South Carolina, Missouri baseball. If you want to weigh in on that, I've said it just because of the series, the remaining schedule, the fact that Missouri has got a losing record, the fact that it's a home series. I've said South Carolina really kind of needs to sweep this series. Again, if they win the series, win 2 out of 3, there's nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't come in here on Monday morning and say that it was a failure or a disappointment. It has more to do with the fact that just you look at what's out there and what's remaining. South Carolina could really, really winning all 3, getting the 9. Look, sweeping any series obviously is phenomenal. But this one, given the opponent, given that Missouri's struggling, again, home series, what's left on your schedule, I actually think that this one a little bit more important to pick up all 3 victories this weekend with what's coming down the line there with the schedule. You've got that. If you want to weigh in the Masters, again, Justin Rose yesterday, just fantastic. 7 under on the day, shoots a 65. Yep, there's the music. You get all
every time you say the Masters, I'm going to play the music.
Just go with the music.
Yeah.
I laughed. I don't think Bryson said this. I know he said it going into the Players, I believe, where he said he saw the course as a par 67.
Yeah.
Anonymous texter said DeChambeau actually shot +9. He said Augusta was a par 67 to him. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if he said it. That's why I don't write that texter off.
No, I'm pretty sure he did say it.
Did he say it last year then?
I'll look it up. Maybe it's one of those things that we've just attributed to him, even though it might not have actually been what he said.
Yeah,
or how he said it, but
it's one of those things that if he did say it, you wouldn't be surprised. But DeChambeau, McIlroy yesterday, DeChambeau and McIlroy both shooting 4 over 76s. Dustin Johnson with a 2 over 74. Patrick's guy, Colin Morikawa, shooting a 1 over 73. They'll get going here in just a little while. This morning, tee times will flip, so you get some of the guys that went out in the morning going out later in the afternoon, so you can get home from work, flip it on, relax this afternoon, catch a little baseball as well. But certainly a fun day down there yesterday at Augusta. The crowd, I don't know how people felt about this. Watching in November, maybe I'd become numb, Patrick, to no crowds. Maybe at that point, or I'd become accustomed to it, I guess. I don't. It didn't seem weird in November. Does that make sense? At the Masters, it didn't seem odd. Maybe I was just.
It has been a full year of watching golf tournaments with no spectators.
Yeah, again, it's one of those things where in November, maybe I was just happy to have the Masters, but yesterday when they would show the overhead shots. And you would see the very small crowds, about an estimated 8,000 to 9,000 people on the grounds yesterday. And then they showed, obviously, Trevor Lawrence was there. Patrick Mahomes was there. There were several celebrities there. And look, if you're a celebrity, this is definitely the year to go because you're not going to have –
Trevor Lawrence getting married? Like
Saturday. Yeah, tomorrow's Saturday. So
because the combine's going on right now.
Yeah.
I said it in quotes.
But, yeah, it was odd seeing the overhead shots, I thought, yesterday – of the Masters and what was kind of taking place. And again, maybe I was just kind of numb to everything. Maybe I was just super happy to have the Masters in November. Maybe I was just completely caught up in college football, but it didn't strike me like it did yesterday. It was just really interesting when they would go to the overhead shots, the drone footage, I guess, and they would show the camera angles there, and you would see the very limited crowds around the green or around the tee box. That was kind of interesting as well yesterday. Just something minor that I picked up on television. Not sure if anybody else noticed or cared or picked up on it.
The Bryson quote I found, he said, "I'm looking at it as a par 67 for me because I can reach all the par 5s in 2, no problem. If the conditions stay the way they are, that's what I feel like par is for me."
Yeah, anonymous texter way back. He said, believe he said it before the November Masters, and then right. Kelly weighed in and sent us an article. So, yeah, Bryson DeChambeau, and that's why it goes back to our discussion on villains. And DeChambeau is, I don't think I don't think Bryson DeChambeau is the biggest villain, but then again, there's probably a lot of you out there that took got a lot of excitement out of him shooting a 76 yesterday and putting himself on the cusp of removing himself from the tournament for the weekend. He'll need a good day today, depending on how things kind of shake out with the rest of the field. But yeah, the villains continue to roll in on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Anonymous texter says from a Washington Redskins fan, Dan Snyder. Dan
Correct.
Snyder's a big villain. I think someone's hit us up on the
Snyder, James Dolan, like owners. There are several owners that are just full-on villains.
who's the worst owner? Who's a worse?
Probably now it's between James Dolan, New York Knicks, Dan Snyder, Washington, Cal McNair, Houston Texans. They're all in the running for that for sure.
Yeah, Cal McNair is quickly put himself up there with the way he's kind of destroyed the Texans there. So we'll.
But that we do, like, all morning we've been getting guys like Bryson might be a villain to some people, although I don't think there are very many, if any, just huge Bryson fans. Like, I think the ones that are true villains are the guys that mostly cheat, because Will King hit us up on Twitter and said Lance Armstrong will forever be the villain.
True.
And that's pretty spot on there. I don't know how you could be a Lance Armstrong fan still. Because he's that's the thing. You just if you completely disrespect the sport and cheat, and are like cocky and obnoxious about it too, you're just going to be unanimously disliked. And that's why I think people feel like Patrick Reed is a cheater. Like I don't know the details of whatever he did with his ball a couple weeks ago. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where it bounced or whatever they call it.
So,
What's it called?
he
Imprinted or implanted or something. I don't even know.
I know a villain on this show is the English language, or it's a huge villain of mine, but I think he sought relief from what he thought was a salt relief. Thank you. Yeah. So it was an issue. There was some questions about him touching the golf ball. There's been issues with him throughout his career about that kind of stuff. He gets questioned. I think it was 2019. I can't remember which tournament it was, but there was a big controversy with him. So yeah, he's always been that guy that is questioned, and he's right. And I'm not saying that he's just right when he says he brings it on himself, but he says he gets scrutinized more. Well, yeah, you do get scrutinized more because of your past transgressions, because of what he's done. He is watched a lot.
And it's not even just as a pro. Going back to college, getting kicked off the team, teammates saying that you stole from them. You don't even have a relationship with your family. Like, just weird things that people just don't do. Normal people just don't do. You're the only Patrick Reed fan out there.
I'm not necessarily.
You're just zigging what we all say.
I'm not necessarily a Patrick Reed fan. Like I'm not. He's not a guy that I'm pulling for to win the tournament this weekend. I think there's a fine line there in being a fan of somebody and then also being completely thinking they're a villain, which is where we've gone with a lot of the conversation today. I'm not as anti-Patrick Reed as some people, but that's also because, and it's kind of why I've come around on Bryson DeChambeau a little bit, embracing who you are at times. I think Patrick Reed embraces who he is and to an extent plays up the character. I think he strikes me as that guy. I don't see him complaining about it. I know I just mentioned that he said he gets scrutinized more, but he knows it. And there are times there are things on the course that I've watched on television, body language things. I think he embraces being the villain. I think it's part of him that he enjoys. I think Bryson, it's one of the reasons I liked Bryson DeChambeau, or started liking him a few weeks ago at Bay Hill when he hit the drive over the par 5, because that's who he is. He's a long driver. And you know what? He did it. I think it was hole number 6 or 7. He did it for the fans. Like I guess he did it for himself. I think he ended up making birdie, but he probably could have laid back in a regular drive and still made birdie. But he did it for the fans, and there was the fist pump and kind of embracing and accepting who you are. There was a good interview on the Golf Channel this week with Bubba Watson, and I didn't know any of this. I've never been a huge Bubba Watson fan. He just kind of his demeanor, his arrogance at times. He does have 2 Masters. But there were things that Bubba was doing. I was like, I don't know, if I'm really a fan of that guy. But he talked in the interview about getting down or being so depressed because of what was being said about him publicly, that he got down to 162 pounds. That he was depression had taken over his life. And he said he stepped on the scale and he was 162 pounds, and his life wasn't going the way he liked, and he was being made fun of. And of course, I was sitting there thinking, like, well, you kind of brought some of it on yourself. But he starts talking about people are making fun of the way he looked and his demeanor on the course, and then not playing well. Well, sometimes you got to embrace who you are. I think some of the best players, whether you like them or not, embrace exactly who they are. One of the villains that's come across on our text line, Grayson Allen, didn't really care for Grayson Allen at Duke. I think he kind of embraced who he was, didn't he?
I don't know about that. I don't think he leaned into it. I think he just happened to be. And if he didn't go to Duke, he wouldn't have been hated like he was.
And again, the other look. I think I don't know where people sit
I don't
today.
think Grayson Allen loves that people hated him.
I'll tell you another guy who embraced who he was and was loved for it by his fan base when he was your coach was Steve Spurrier. Steve Spurrier fully embraced being the villain to Georgia for 5 years to Clemson. He embraced it when he was at South Carolina. He embraced it when he was at Florida. Didn't so much work with the Redskins, but I mean that's all kind of part of it. Jeff,
he is certainly. I said Albert Haynesworth earlier. He is also a villain in Washington D.C. Steve Spurrier's name is not one that gets mentioned inside the Beltway there in D.C. He's hated.
Jeff weighs in and says, "Stop, Bill. They're both clowns." Look, I'm not. I guess he's referring to both Patrick Reed and DeChambeau. Yeah, that's fine. So to Jeff, both of them are villains. Maybe they're big villains. I don't know. Maybe Jeff just doesn't like anybody. I don't know. But
Dr. Bulldog's breaking some news to me that there are plenty of Lance Armstrong fans among cyclists in America. He was our brightest shining star, and they still hold on to that regardless. Said just look at his podcast numbers. I didn't even know he had a podcast. Did you?
I didn't. Although I'm not a podcast guy. I'm
a podcast guy, and I do not know that he had one. But I thought that was like the whole thing about Lance Armstrong is that he was our brightest shining star, and it was all based on cheating. And he like ripped people down and ruined people's careers and called them names and just destroyed them in the public when they were doing nothing wrong. And he was just doing that to cover his own transgressions up. So news to me, Dr. Bulldog, but I believe you.
I don't know if having fans for a podcast or having a bunch of subscribers is on the.
Yeah, I mean, people hate listening to a ton of stuff.
Well, and it's just interesting. Just because
Skip Bayless has made a whole career of that, right?
Yeah. Skip Bayless
making $8 million a year for everyone to hate him.
Stephen A. Smith is another guy making a ton of money and doing really, really well. And I can't say that they have a ton of fans. I think people tune in and listen, but I don't know if that I can't say that people tune in and listen to me.
It's a hot take society.
And are a fan of me. I'm reading the text line. Some of you are not fans of me, and apparently you're still tuning in. So that kind of is what it is. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in. Biggest villains in sports. If you've got one, you can hit us up that way. If you want to weigh in on South Carolina, Missouri baseball, again, 3-game series set to begin tonight over at Founders Park. 20% chance of rain all day long. I was looking at it, so it looks like it should move out and have a nice night for baseball down there at Founders Park as the Missouri Tigers come to town. And, of course, the Masters today get going here in about 20 minutes or so. They'll take back to the course Justin Rose, 7 under, your current leader. We'll continue to monitor that and see how it goes and continue on. Luke Day, South Carolina strength and conditioning coach, coming up here in about 20 minutes. We'll catch up with him and find out how the spring's going. 2 weeks from tomorrow, South Carolina will have their spring game. 2 weeks from tomorrow, 9,000 tickets sold to the Gamecock spring game. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
You're clear. All right, I still have not heard back from Luke Day, but I'm assuming he's gonna hop on.
If he just hops on, it'll be kind of interesting. I texted Fink back yesterday and asked him for the phone number, to get a phone number to call him, and never heard him back, I don't think.
It'll make my life a lot easier.
Oh, I sent Fink our phone number for him to call in. So maybe Fink forwarded it to him. And
I do hope he gets on the stream, and that's not an issue. It'll make my job a lot easier rather than putting his audio up.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, I'll be right back.
Tell you what, Lance Armstrong brings out some strong emotions in people. Text line has got some Lance Armstrong hot takes. I gotta admit, I'm kind of ready for a nap. I'm ready for the weekend. Energy level is going downhill quickly. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I tell you, man. All right.
What?
That's it. That's the best. Happy Friday, Chad.
What's the best?
I made the comment when you walked out because I looked at the text line and we got Panther Chris weighed in. I was like, man, Lance Armstrong really brings out some emotions in people.
I guess so. I mean, it was just weird that, like, if you watch the documentary, I mean, he talked about the people the woman that said he was cheating, that like administered the doses to him. He basically just like ripped her in the media left and right and said that like just completely destroyed her reputation, said she was a liar, said she was like doing illegal things, like messing around with other athletes, and like ruined her entire career and life, and basically has no regrets about it. He's not a good guy. He's just objectively a bad guy, I think. Maybe I'm wrong.
We'll do that. I'm gonna bring it back up.
Oh man. Don't read Mike B's text. Just read it on the air live. Read it cold.
I already read it.
I just read the first sentence. The biggest villain is the enemy within, and I was like, all right, here we go.
I feel like a lot of people need a hug this morning. Like, this is one of those mornings where I showed up at 6:05 in a good mood and ready to do a radio show, and then like some of the text messages are just like, my goodness, who is listening this morning?
It started off good. It's all good on the live stream.
Yeah, everybody. And by the way, good morning, Courtney. Yep. And then Travis, I don't know why you didn't get your tickets. We're not talking about Prince Philip. We've already talked Prince Philip.
He died. He
passed
was
away.
99.
Yeah.
Had a good run.
Courtney,
We hear he was married to the Queen.
We got Courtney Levitt. We got Courtney Martin. We got Chad, Travis, Sonny. Did Sonny fall back asleep?
I think he did.
Are we such a scintillating show this morning that Sonny fell back asleep? Queen's husband. Yeah, Queen's said he was 99. He was 99 years old. Not sad when they're 99. It's a good run. It's a life well lived.
Great
And
life.
I don't think for the majority of his life he was hurting financially. I think he was doing just well. It's not sad. Prince Philip. Let's look up Prince Philip. Duke of Edinburgh.
Morning.
He
Edinburgh.
looks like a happy old guy too.
It's not Edinburgh, but that was a good effort.
Thank you. Edinburgh.
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 Berg. It's not a borough. It's a burg.
Well, I think the first I looked at the Google list. I think the Google thing I looked at. I see Berg now, but the one that I had had Bourgh.
Yeah, that's Berg, not borough. Like Pittsburgh.
How do you spell borough?
Boroughh. It's not Pittsburgh. It's not the Pittsburgh Steelers.
No, but the one that I looked at didn't have it. The one that I looked at had it spelled like borough. I'm sorry. The one that I looked at, I'm looking at what I'm looking at is Wikipedia page now. I agree with you on Berg.
All right, we're back. We got like 3 minutes.
We can really make a lot of people.
You're up.
$7:51 on a Friday morning. I showed up ready to be in a good mood, have a good show, cut up and have a good time. I don't know if some of you showed up the same way this morning. We're talking about villains. And two things here. Patrick, through 2 hours, we haven't gotten as many responses on Lance Armstrong is a villain, but the responses that we've gotten from multiple people, they're pretty passionate. Like for and against.
A lot of people go to bat for Lance.
For and against. And it makes me think right now, Lance Armstrong ranks up there among all time, like top 2 maybe. And I don't even know who number 2 is right at this moment. At this current moment, I have no idea. But all time, it makes me think because of the emotion of some of the text messages that Lance Armstrong is the biggest sports villain of all time. Like, again, we haven't gotten there hasn't been a ton of responses, but Panther Chris weighs in and it says calling Lance a cheater in a sport filled with cheating is like calling Mr. Olympia a cheater for taking steroids. The last Tour de France he won, the first cyclist that was not doping finished in the 20s. Lance was no more a cheater than anyone else in that sport. Dr. Bulldog has weighed in. A couple people have weighed in on the live stream. Again, we've gotten other villains. But when it comes to, we've gotten long explanations when it comes to Lance Armstrong. And then there's this text message from Mike D. The biggest villain is the enemy within. The South Carolina football fan or alum who looks only toward the Clemson game each year, the one who doesn't understand the reality that it is teams within the SEC that are our biggest rival and the ones South Carolina must beat to advance. I have found these same fans also tailgating and sitting in their 100-foot RVs watching big screen TVs. They scalp their tickets and never make it into the gate to watch the game live. The excuse they give is that it helps pay for that tailgate space.
The biggest villain is the enemy within, and we have nothing to fear but fear itself.
One, thank you for your contribution and for listening this morning.
That's
thank
most
you.
importantly.
I look, I'm open to everybody's opinion. 2, man, did that come out of nowhere? I'm guessing we said something somewhere to bring that up. So coming up though in about 10 minutes, South Carolina, we think South Carolina strength and conditioning coach Luke Day is set to join us. We'll talk a little spring football with him. We'll cut up a little bit about the Masters and more. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. And then you've got Mike D, and then you've got Rich on the text line, who is just bound and determined to get us to talk about the Phillip Adams situation.
Or Ray Lewis.
I'm not. I mean,
It's also not even what Ray Lewis was accused of, but I get what he's trying to do. Don't like him. I get it. Prince Philip played polo.
so Patrick, I feel like you're just watching the live stream.
This was a good question. I'm glad she answered it. Why was he not the king if he was married to the queen? Because he had his own royal titles and wasn't next in line. But if you watch Game of Thrones, the king and queen are always married anyway.
It's true. It's true.
Like,
I think that's how it goes. It's true. Game of Thrones, I think that's exactly how it worked. Mike D said, "You didn't say anything. It's just what I've been feeling for a while. Thanks for reading my take. It had to be said." Just had to get it out there.
Therapy Friday.
Therapy Friday. Yeah. Kumar Rocker. What did he give up?
6. Should just be the. We should get a new sponsor for the text line. It should be the like the BetterHelp or something like that. Text lines.
And then Michael Beckham says on Twitter, "We resent the RV comment by anonymous texter. RVers are some of the most diehard fans here, home, and away." Just grizzled on a Friday. Everybody's.
I mean, I agree. You're driving your RV all around the Southeast to follow football. You're a good fan. I wish. I would love to have an RV, but I will never do it because I would be so afraid to drive one of those suckers.
Yeah, I was talking to a buddy of mine who does that. He takes his kids around to some sporting events in RVs.
I would love to be friends with someone that had one, but I would be just freaking out the whole time.
Let's see here.
All right, I'm watching the live stream, see if a Luke Day will pop up, and I'm watching the phone lines. But
there you go.
if nothing happens, we just continue this discussion.
I'm getting a tweet ready just in case he pops up.
I want to miss it.
Yeah, Bill, we need to get into that Frank Martin. I meant to bring that up. Board of Trustees will do that. We'll do that next hour. We need to get into that a little bit.
I don't think we're going to get into it if we actually have Luke Day on.
Well, I'll bring it up at some point. It'll get us through 5 minutes of just mentioning that the Board of Trustees are meeting today. You could hear something on Frank Martin's contract situation, an official or final announcement. Judge, yeah. Snee Farm.
Good morning, Trey.
Snee Farm.
We've missed a lot in the last couple of hours.
Yeah. Travis, I think I don't know word, but I think they will. I think Beamer's going to be a little bit more open. So at the Top Golf last night, at the top, I didn't know what it was, but they have one of those little massage guns. Have you ever had one of those? You know what I'm talking about?
My parents got one. They're sweet. Yeah. They look like a drill, basically.
Yeah. That was something. Yeah, it's been an interesting morning.
It's just been a tale of two mediums. Everything's all good on the live stream. Everybody's having a good time, but the text line has just been a cesspool this morning. A lot of negativity on a Friday.
It's a weird morning. I agree. Theragun? Is that what it was?
Yeah, they're awesome.
It was something. I didn't know what it was, to be honest. Well, Steven, you were right about DeChambeau. 4 over. I wonder, did DeChambeau say anything whether he was going to keep that driver in his bag?
I'm going to give him a second. It's actually a good comment.
Patrick, you may I'll keep an eye out on the live stream, but obviously if we come back, if he's joining us at 8:05, you may have to mute your mic and talk to him via live stream to tell Luke what to do.
Well,
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, it's going to be kind of interesting to see how this all kind of plays out.
I'm interested to see if it plays out. Would not be surprised if there was a lapse in communication somewhere.
or he tuned into the live stream and realized that was not a path he wanted to go down.
I think in general, the best golfers are known to be hockey players, are known to be phenomenal golfers, most hockey players, and quarterbacks. Quarterbacks and specialists, I think, are the best golfers in football. So I bet Luke Doty can play. Myrtle Beach is, what'd you say? It's the golf
capital of the world.
So I bet you Luke Doty's a good golfer. That would be my guess. Uh-oh.
Pitchers are the best golfers. A lot of free time. Oh, man. Hockey for sure. Can't believe we haven't got it. Of course, hockey again. Yeah, I hadn't gotten a hockey villain. You think there'd be villains in hockey? $8:03. All right, we're about to come back.
Right on.
Oh, look at that guy.
Okay, so so I got you on hold, and we'll just, this way people can hear you on the actual live stream.
Okay, now are you gonna come through this phone, and it'll be like when people call in and have the radio turned up too loud? Is it gonna be that issue?
Yeah. No, it shouldn't be an issue. You'll just talk through here, and we'll be good to
go. Okay, I'm just saying when I hear you guys talk, I just heard Will talk and it was coming out through my computer.
Can you turn the volume on, the speaker volume on your computer off?
Yeah, I'll just mute it. Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect.
There you go.
Right on.
All right, I'll put you on hold and we'll get you right on.
Yes, sir.
Good to have you.
And producer Jeffrey Jensen. There's going to be ramifications from this. Now, here's the there were definitely on 107.5, the game.
It's been an up and down morning.
I showed up at 8:05. I was fired up. I was ready to go. I had a nice coffee.
Man, some of you guys are all right. Calm me down a little bit. Now, Patrick and I have brought in a professional to fire us up every morning for the South Carolina football program. Welcome in. He's on the live stream. If you want to join us, go to YouTube.com website. 107.5 the game. You can check out Coach Dave. Got a beautiful Carolina hoodie on there. Carolina on it. Coach, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, guys. Good morning. Happy Friday to you. I'm glad to be on here.
Glad to have you. Glad to have you. I guess the question you got to ask, you got to get right on the staff. Ask what's going on. I know you guys are busy. The practices you got to have and whatnot. But who's the best golfer on the football staff?
I'm a horrible eye for Lynx talent, but I would say far and away right now it's George Wheezy Wynn, our football operations director. It's a lifestyle for him. He's obsessed. So,
well, of course, that's the one guy. He doesn't have to do the recruiting, or he doesn't have to do the.
No, let's not go there. He's a busy man, but he's still finding a way to chase greatness. So he ain't gonna hear that noise about not having an excuse and why everybody else can't be as good as him. So I can't let you say that. So.
Luke Day joining us this week. We're taking on the live stream. We're working through it. We got all kinds of stuff going on. We're glad to have Luke Day join us to try to continue to evolve this program and get him on the live stream. You can check it out there. Obviously, you can hear right now. Let's talk a little spring football weekend. Transition, winter workouts, how is it going? How do you assess the progress that's been made with the guys under your control? Beamer cameo jumping in there. That's great. Looks like a lot of fun down there. It has a lot of people, atmosphere and everything that you guys have down there. How do you compare it just to what you've been around in your career and what Shane is creating with the culture and the mentality? I think we saw the Easter egg hunt. I've listened to Greg Atkins talk about his family and what his children mean to him. I've heard you talk about it. I know Justin Stepp from his time at Pillion and familiar with he and his family. I actually worked at Lexington High School for his brother Josh, so I understand a lot of the dynamics there. But from what you're feeling and seeing and how this is being created, how does it compare to other places you've been?
Affirmation from you, but we're also, when it's not good, you're going to get to know that. But the reason you can be corrected harshly is because we've been connected on the front end. And so when you have a really, you can correct as harsh as the relationship is strong. And so that's why we were so invested in Coach Beamer gets it, man. You have to be really tightly knitted together if we're going to get after each other as hard as we're going to have to and be able to still care for each other the next day or the next moment or the next period. And he's done a phenomenal job of creating that atmosphere in this building where it is safe to risk everything and be yourself and go as hard as you can. You might fall short, but I got a whole bunch of people that's going to come alongside me and help me transition into the next phase of my development, whatever that is. Coaches, players, everybody included in that.
Strength coach Luke Day joining us this morning. He's on the live stream. He can read the comments. We're all having a good time. We're trying to figure this thing out. Thank you, Coach, for being our guinea pig with getting someone on here and having a good time. No, we don't know what's going.
No.
Patrick fixed it.
Well, I did kind of fix it, but can you unmute your mic?
Oh,
My mic.
No, so the problem what the problem is the speaker on the computer was what was echoing when Bill was talking, but the mic is good to go.
yeah.
So now there should be no issues, I don't think.
See, Coach, this is
We're learning.
we're
only
learning.
for this whole
I
live
should have
stream
just
thing.
called you guys.
We're
Which I did
I was
that as
telling
well.
I was telling Steve Fink yesterday. We are a chaos organization here. We're professionally sloppy by design, and the other two people, Jen and Tim, are not here. So it's the children are running the household right
Oh
now.
no! Oh
with
no!
Patrick and I. So we welcome you in. You're a motivational guy. I've seen the videos of you speak. Where do you draw a lot of your motivation from? What was it maybe in your background, your past? You've got the slogan struggle well. But where is it books? Is it videos? Where do you go to for your motivational stuff?
It's everywhere. It's just, are you listening? There's somebody will say something to you really profound today that you interact with. If you're listening, it'll be something I read. It'll be something I hear. It'll be something I hear one of these guys say. A coach talking to his position group. If I can get in and just sit in on their meetings, it'll be ancient truths. It'll be from the Bible. It'll be from a podcast. It's just what's going on, what's resonating with what we're dealing with here right now that these kids can grab a hold of. And it's one thing if it can't just be something I'm interested in. We listen to different music. We have different interests. We're going to watch different types of movies. Motivational is something that it resonates with what's going on in your life. That's why it motivates you. But if it's just something that I like and you have no idea and you can't relate, then what I'm talking about doesn't matter. So there's tons of things that I hear, but you can't, and we can't just overload these guys with information every single day. I tend to, and you guys can witness this right now, I talk too much and I'm trying to work on say less and mean more. And so that constantly trying to, what is your favorite songs? It's a simple line in a song, but man, it means so much every single line. Like Jason Isbell is my favorite singer in the world. And his writing is outrageous, and he just keeps trimming the fat off every single line. I listened to him talk about writing songs one time, and I kind of try to mimic that with coaching. Is just what is the tightest, most bumper sticker way to say a very, very powerful thing without too much fat around the edges.
I would assume Coach Luke Day joining us, strength and conditioning coach. I would assume kind of a big part, just like doing a talk show. And we get yelled at sometimes for talking too much on a talk show. I would assume that a strength and conditioning coach better talk a lot. That seems communication via the weight room, the morning workouts, you communicating your both feelings and instructions with the players seems pretty important. I would assume talking a lot. We talk about whether it's being peppy or being really built. What's the biggest thing for a strength and conditioning coach?
Yes, everything is contingent on communication, but more important, one of our players said this in a team meeting yesterday. He said it's one thing for us all to become better communicators. It's more important that we all become better comprehenders. Right? I can communicate all day long. If you're not comprehending what I'm communicating, then we're just checking off boxes and making ourselves feel good that we said the right thing so that I don't get yelled at later. Like, do you hear what I am saying? Are you listening? All right. I had an old friend, Alex Mirabal. He's an offensive line coach. And he said, listening and hearing are two different things, right? I know you hear me. It's an audible noise. Are you listening to what I'm saying? So everything I'm saying to these guys, and the whole point of communication, it is absolutely meaningless if they cannot comprehend what it is I'm saying. So it doesn't matter how much I think I know or how good I thought that sounded coming out of my mouth.
Let's do a little professional. I'll do some professional radio with you real quick. Let's actually ask a serious question here for you. I know people would like to know. Look, I'm 38. I've given up on the modeling career. It's more about now just staying in semi shape. But what is your core philosophy on workouts? I read these things. Obviously, there was a strength and conditioning coach prior to you. I was talking about just the guys who I've seen come through this program: Craig Fitzgerald, Joe Connolly, Jeff Dillman was prior to you.
Mhm.
What is your philosophy in terms of like dynamic workouts or bands or weights? What has developed? What is, I guess, it's just like an offensive philosophy that Marcus Satterfield has, Clayton White's defensive philosophy. What is your philosophy with workouts and how you want players to be trained to get stronger, faster, and also to deal with injuries?
It absolutely has evolved. You know, when you get into this business, you think it's about sets and reps and make sure you're able to coach these exercises. And I better pass my certification. And then it turns into we're missing something here, because that game out there on that practice field, it doesn't look like a lot of the exercises we're doing in this weight room. So I've come to this point. It's very, very simple. It's if you imagined a pyramid, the top of the pyramid is the highest form of human expression, and that is the combination of all movements. It's organized in sport, right? So a football player, he is in one game, he's throwing a projectile, he's catching, he's tracking a projectile, he's striking people, he's sprinting, he's falling down, he's getting back up, and he's jumping, right? So to get to that point, you got to push, pull, hinge, squat, carry, and crawl, right? To be able to do that, you got to be able to rotate, move your head, roll over. So right there, we've just figured out a way to get all the way to the top of the food chain, which is what everybody's paying the price of admission to see, is the combination of all those movements, which is football. So how do we train those things? And then, all right, football, it's a high speed thing that is incredibly physical, and we're smashing into each other while we do it. So we're going to have to be as explosive as a competitive weightlifter or an Olympic track sprinter, and as repetitive as an endurance athlete. So we're going to move, we're going to be fast, and we're going to be physical. And so we break the day up like that. We call it long and strong is our physical day. How much, how long, how far can you go? Fast, how quickly, how high velocity of a movement can you do, and how specific or funky strong can you be, as far as it's one thing to be able to lay on the bench and move a whole bunch of weight off of your chest, but we call those cooperative exercises, right? They're perfectly balanced on each side of the bar. It's smooth, it's under control, it can't strike you back, right? Football is, if you're ever doing that motion where you're laying on your back pushing something off of you, you just got ran over on the field. So yes, we're going to use the bench press as an upper body strength improvement, but it is not, we're not going to be bar trained and football demanded, right? This is more of we're preparing these guys for combat, to strike each other and to have resilience. So we want to temper their body much like a fighter, to where, you know, inflammation and injury, it starts the first 4 days of full padded practices, and then it kind of dips down. And that's everywhere in America. Why is that? It's because the body becomes tempered to that kind of violence. So we want to train them in ways that they become very familiar with violent movements and violent activities and high speed deals. And we want to change direction. We want to get them on the ground. We want to get them up off the ground. We want them carrying things that aren't really very cooperative with them. Probably the most useful piece of equipment in here, and we have some beautiful, beautiful stuff, but we have these sand balls that are like 100, 120, 150 pounds. And we use those things every single day because they're awkward and it's hard to deal with and to lay down and get it on your chest and stand back up with it and all that kind of stuff. If you spend your entire time in this room in a 4x4 platform, is that really preparing you for the amount of movement and the thousands of yards that you're about to go out there and do? So it's been, we're trying to chase this kind of ancient, what do humans do, right? From long before there were weight rooms and just work, right? We squat things, we hinge, we walk on one leg at a time. This side of our brain controls this side of our body. Now let's train it that way to get ready to go be better football players. That was a probably complicated answer to a pretty
Well,
simple
no, we needed professional radio for a minute. We got done 2 hours of goofing off. We started out goofing off with you. That you just saved the whole radio program right there. That's the only clip we'll play from today. We will get one more professional question in. A couple guys that you've noticed or that you saw really become leaders over 4 months. I think it's difficult. You're a new guy. Beamer, Shane's a new guy, new coaching staff. The players have been here. We were talking about just some of the things they've been through. So I think when a new staff comes in, you've got to watch guys emerge, either vocally or however. Who was a couple guys that you've seen through 4 months that have really emerged to kind of take control of this team so far? Can you speak on that?
The challenge when we arrived here was we're not anointing anybody the voice, and we're not nominating anyone a leader. It's you be the absolute, just most authentic, genuine, best you, and that will motivate the person next to you to replicate the behavior, and we'll lead each other that way for a while. So we don't. There's no sacred person that is this is who we listen to right now. And that's something that it needs to happen organically. But there are people that by the way they play the game and the influence that they have on their position group and on the field, just by their presence of the way they play. Somebody like JJ Inagre comes to mind. Luke Doty is trying to get out of his comfort zone and lead this football team. I see that and I see there's people that are trying to become leaders by just leading themselves into places that were previously uncomfortable for them, to where maybe they were in a sort of a cruising state, and now they're trying to. You cannot become better at something until you become conscious that it's not good. Right. So we're consciously bringing into our awareness, hey, this is going to get in the way. Right. And if it doesn't help us win, then we're not interested in it. So it's not just our favorite things or Coach Beamer's favorite things. He likes people to wear this special thing because that means we're going to have a disciplined football team. It's anything that gets in the way. And for us, it's in 3 categories. It's accountability, it's toughness, and it's performance. Those are the 3 pillars, and if you have 2 out of the 3, you'll still lose that day. You can be the most emotional, fired up team ever, and if you're not accountable and you make a bunch of mental errors, you're going to lose. And if you can be the sharpest and have the best game plan ever, and you don't jump off sides at all, and if you come out of the tunnel flat, you're going to lose. And if you don't just produce, and you're emotionally, and you got a great, sound, disciplined football team, but they just don't make plays when they get a chance to do it, you're going to lose. So we're trying to learn as a football team. We're learning how to put one foot in front of the other, and do that. Can I fire on all 3 cylinders every single time it's time to do that? Can I be accountable? Can I be tough? Can I perform when it's time to make plays? And we're learning to do that as an entire group, as an entire outfit. But some of those older guys, I'm encouraged by people that, and it's not just vocal stuff. Anybody can say something. It's people that have battled being underweight their entire career, and now they've weighed more than they ever have. It's people that have trouble consistently being where they're supposed to be. And it's one thing, I can yell at you and I can make you do a bunch of punishments in the morning about it, but until you agree that it is an issue and that it needs fixed, it will never get fixed. You'll just play charades with me until the end of time, until they remove me or we go play the game, and you'll go do whatever you believe in. So this whole leadership thing is us all coming to a final agreement that this is what we have to believe in. And that's a never, ever ending process that we're in right now.
Just a few more minutes with Coach Day here joining us from the weight room. He's on the live stream. You can check that out. Go to youtube.com, search 1075thegame.com. You can click and you can follow. You can comment in as well. You're an excitable guy. I'm noticing. You seem excitable. You seem like you've got a little bit of energy. What do you know I used to do recruiting. I had to work for ESPN, and when kids would commit to South Carolina, I would ask after they had made a visit or something. I'd ask about their watching South Carolina run out to 2001. I think it's one of the best entrances in college football. What do you know about 2001? How do you expect to take the field? Because again, you seem pretty excitable and like a guy who's going to enjoy that 30 seconds, music coming out through the tunnel, the smoke, and everything that comes along with 2001 at Sandstorm. That seems like something you're going to get. What do you know about it? Have you seen it? Like, give me your take of what's about to come for you there.
Oh, that was one of the first things I heard about. When I got offered this job and accepted this job, Coach Beamer sent me like a video, right after we got on the phone of like that intro, and I got like goosebumps. I'll be out of my mind. Like I'll have to calm myself down. I did this at other places. I get so ridiculous jacked up that I got to go take a minute away from everybody so I don't throw up on TV or something like that. So I'll absolutely have to just kind of, we just showed a clip to the team of the what was it, Old School with Will Ferrell. Keep your composure. Like that's what I'm going to have to do. So I'll be the guy screaming like Will Ferrell in the locker room. So
take it, leading. He'll be Coach Luke Day against Eastern Illinois, leading the team out, waving the finger, meeting the student section. Before we let you go, have you done the? I saw the video the other day. Did you go over? Have you done the Top Golf? Have you gotten into the Top Golf there at Williamsburg?
Yeah, that was. We went over there as a team. The night before, and that was a blast, man. I listen. First off, the Masters around here is like, it's a big deal. Holy, I get people wearing like outfits and Masters shirts, and I'm like, this is the whole deal around here. I'm learning about. So I haven't swung a golf club in 10 years, but I held my own on the Top Flight or Top Golf deck, so I was excited. Top Golf people get upset.
Hopefully I get a chance to see you. I know Coach Beamer and some of the staff will be out at the Lexington County Gamecock Club tournament on Monday. I think that's at noon. I think he's going to bring some of y'all. Make sure you get on the bus or in a car and come hang out, and we'll cruise around and cut up a little bit. Coach, I appreciate your time. I know you got far more important things than to cut up with Patrick and I this morning. I know the fan base would like you to probably train the players and not talk to us all morning, but I know you've been a treat for them. We appreciate you joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Coach. Coach Luke Day joining us this morning. You can check that out on the live stream. That will be archived. We'll be right back. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game.
Clear.
I think we pulled it off. Thanks to Coach Day. Thanks to everybody on the live stream. I think we did a good job.
He signed off with the quickness.
Well, that would, we still haven't figured out like how to do that with the sign off and everything, but he did good. And we kept him for 22 minutes. So I think that went well. So it's just early on. It was his mic or was it mine? Nope. That's what we do. We raise the bar, force Tim and Jen to up their game when they come back.
Yeah, it was his he needed to turn his speaker down instead of mute his mic, and then he did both. So I had to just turn it on the because I can toggle the overhead speaker here. So when he muted himself, I just turned the overhead speaker back up loud.
Gotcha. Well, went well. So this will be a quick segment.
Probably, yeah.
Yes, we'll do a quick one, get in and get out, and wrap her up. That was perfect. In and out.
Yeah, this is why we need to have the program audio playing through the live stream, because when I have to play his sound over the speaker, I can't have my mic on because
Yeah.
it turns the speakers off.
Yeah. It's, that's the one thing about not being able to go in studio that's really bad, because we're not able, like Tim's not really able to get in there and fix it himself or be at the office.
Fix what?
Well, like just being at the office and being able to go into Tammy's office or go into the studio, because I would assume, like you said, that that's a piece that needs to be used at the board and not on his computer.
Well, yeah, I mean, he doesn't want to do it that way though.
Oh, really? Okay.
He said he didn't want to put anything else on Jen's plate because there's enough going on here. But that was not the issue. The Bluetooth is not the issue. It's just we have to turn our speakers on our laptops off when we go into the segment. Otherwise, we're going to be echoing over each other. So,
yeah,
it's not an ideal setup, but
we're getting there.
We're making it work.
We're getting there. No, it's just iced coffee this morning, Jan. It's just iced coffee.
That's an interesting spelling for Kahlua, though.
Yeah, I don't know if that's right. All right.
1, 2.
Gotta admit, I'm wearing down. Let's see here. Let's check in. Who is? I don't know who teed off early. Martin Laird is 1 under through 2. Jimmy Walker is +1 after 1. What season is Ozark in? I stopped watching that in about halfway through. Did Ozark?
I've never seen it. I think it's season 3, though.
Oh, is it only season 3?
I haven't watched it, so I don't know, but I do believe the last season was set in season 2.
Great time to get.
No, we're not. I'm definitely not an English professor. I think we know that there.
No, but I'm an English major. Nailed it.
It's okay, Mike. We got 30 minutes. We got less than 30 minutes left. We got 21. At this point, you've made it long enough on the show. Happy Friday, Mark. They should play the final day. What is it? Kevin Costner out there with a 7-iron?
I'm sure it is for you as well. Also, the fact that there's no leftover soup and residue, that might cause it cleaner longer. I know they can do that.
That actually is one of my. I do like that line. I was gonna say one of my more favorite lines where Kevin Costner looks at Don Johnson and says, "You ever shot? I forget what he shot, 67 or whatever with a 7-iron." Don Johnson goes, "It never really dawned on me to play a round of golf with just a 7-iron."
All right, we're back.
Quick segment.
We can go 10 minutes. Oh, that's short. You're
Big thanks to Southwest Strength and Conditioning coach Luke Day for joining us there. Again, if you missed it, you can go back. You can go to the YouTube page. You don't even have to subscribe. We're asking you to. It's very nice of you if you subscribe. But You can go back and you can rewatch the whole interview. You can see him on camera. It's from about 8:05 to we kept him a good 22 minutes. Thanks to Coach for sticking with us. And
I'll get it tweeted out too. I'll tweet the podcast link to it.
there you
Just
go.
check my Twitter _Patrick Barrett.
_Patrick Perrette. Check him out there, and we'll get that out. But big thanks to him for joining us. 2 weeks from tomorrow, South Carolina spring game will take place. It'll be interesting. First real look at Marcus Satterfield's offense. I think that for the spring game, look, I've seen spring games in the past. Saltaquay Muhammad have a monstrous spring game in the early 2000s. We've seen, I think all of us probably have some player that had a monster spring game and then obviously didn't go on to do anything the next year. So I don't know if there's a player. I mean, certainly I'm actually excited to see Marshawn Lloyd in a Gamecock uniform. I don't think he'll participate that day, though. I think they're still kind of taking it slowly with him. But, I see some development with Luke Doty and how Jason Brown looks as E.J. Jenkins is tall. Jordan Birch after a year in a strength and conditioning program. Certainly there are things there that, I want to see individually, but I'll be more interested just the concepts, what the offense looks like from Marcus Satterfield on April 24th there, 2 weeks from tomorrow. Today, there will be a Board of Trustees meeting regarding contracts. It is expected, from what I understand, that this is regarding Frank Martin's contract. I think it's at 2 p.m. I believe that's public information, and I believe I was told it's at 2 p.m. So very likely that you could hear something on Frank Martin later this afternoon. We mentioned it. They did land a commitment yesterday, I guess actually Tuesday. What's today? Today's Friday. They landed a commitment Wednesday night, 6'7" forward from George Mason. I have to go back and get his name. I apologize for that. But South Carolina landing a basketball commitment out of the transfer portal, will be a senior next year. So that gives them 5 guys coming in the class. But you expect South Carolina to renew. I expect South Carolina to renew Frank Martin's contract. I think there will be some changes to how it's structured. Might be a little bit of an extension, but the Board of Trustees is meeting today, roughly 2 o'clock, to approve a contract, is I believe what's on the agenda. So we'll see how that goes. And the only reason I bring that up is because it'll probably bring a resolution or a final answer to the Frank Martin situation that has kind of dragged on for the last month there. Good or bad for him, a lot that I thought needed to be resolved a little bit quicker than this. And it didn't get done, but they will now hopefully have this thing figured out within the next couple hours, and South Carolina fans and the basketball program can really, at least publicly, move forward with a plan for 2021, 2022. And I expect, again, Frank Martin to be the coach. A.J. Wilson, the 6'7", 230-pound forward that committed to South Carolina out of the transfer portal on Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday, I think Tuesday or Wednesday of this week. I got my dates all mixed up. 803-404-6100 is how you can join us. Again, you can join us via the Cool Care Eating and Air text line, or give us a phone call. You can also join us on the live stream.
Eating and air.
Is that what I said?
You said eating and air.
Eating and air. It's all that hopped up on all the iced coffee this morning. And Coach Day again, and his excitement that he brought to the program.
We got to get him back on. When he was going on talking about like the bench press and all that stuff, I just wanted to say, so you definitely hate the combine, don't you? I feel like he would have gone on a 10-minute rant about how the combine needs to be changed and isn't the right way to measure an athlete. And I want to know what Luke Day designing the NFL combine would look like.
Yeah, and to go back and recap some of that interview, I was interested in hearing him say that about how they're training. And I'm not being funny. I have no clue with regards to football training. It's pretty simple. If your team's winning, you've got a pretty good strength and conditioning coach. If your team's losing, all of a sudden they're not that good. Clemson really disliked Joey Batson for about 5 or 6 years there, from 2009 to about 2012. Well, now Clemson, you got a bunch of pros coming out. They all look huge. They're well built. They're physically in shape. Now all of a sudden Joey Batson's a genius. But how you train your players and what you do, the sandball that Coach Day was mentioning and putting his guys in awkward positions. Patrick, you were a college athlete, lacrosse. What do you remember? I mean, I'm assuming you had early morning workouts, like weight room. What do you remember about your early morning workouts?
Well, so for us, our strength coaches were what you would picture, like meathead, giant, no neck, giant shoulders, just huge chest. And we did, like, for the most part, we did a pretty standard, like, bench press, front squats, and things like that. Like, it was a pretty traditional weightlifting program. It was just things would change, and we would do lots of, like, band stretching and things like that during the in season. We didn't do as much heavy lifting. But for us, it was I thought it was felt like a very traditional weightlifting program. I think that is what you're kind of evolving away from, at least at big programs with the funds and all sorts of things like that. Like, there's no spared expense in South Carolina, which I think helps the strength coach. They can use all the technology. Like, I don't know if the catapult, I think that's mostly for measuring on-field performance, but they have a better idea of how hard to push guys here. And, like, you can always, like, be checking on their body fat or whatever it is you need to monitor. So for us at a small school playing lacrosse, it was just straight up get in there. We're going to bench press today. We're going to front squat on Wednesday. We're going to do cleans and all that stuff on Friday. So it was way more basic.
Again, just good stuff from him listening. And one thing that I'll also point out from that interview, and I've said this prior, and I'm not, they are going out of their way to not single out the staff as a whole. I've noticed this. And Coach Day kind of alluded to it right now. They're allowing leadership and guys to step up organically and not forcing it. I think somebody was joking with us. I think it was Trey on the live stream while Coach was talking and was joking about how does he feel about forced nicknames that we talked about a while back. And I say that jokingly because they're not forcing guys to step up and be leaders right now. They are allowing it to happen organically. But we asked him about guys who had stood out, and I noticed he was very careful not to point to one or two or three particular guys. He mentioned Luke Doty. He talked about a few guys here and there, but JJ Ngbare was another guy that he mentioned. But at the same time, you see them right now trying to create, I think, more of a team and less of an individual culture. We brought up Justin Turrentine and what he said earlier in the program regarding the coaching under Greg Atkins versus Eric Wolford. Again, I think there's changes that had to be made in that program. I don't think that they get made in 4 months or 5 months if you go all the way back to when Shane Beamer was hired. But I think you see some of it evolving. And it's going to take time. It's going to take time. I think this football team, you look at the schedule, you look at how it plays out, getting to a bowl game should be the realistic expectation. I don't know if that's 7-5 or 6-6, but you look at the schedule, you look at where the games are on the schedule, where you go, who you play, so forth and so on. Getting to a bowl game in year one of Shane Beamer, even if it's the Birmingham Bowl or, the Independence Bowl, it would be a success and would be something to hang your hat on in year one and build on that with recruiting and so forth and so on, Patrick.
Yeah, I think so. I was thinking about Turnitin was the only one I actually watched yesterday of all the players speaking, but I was trying to think about the players that need to be in the strength program the most and thinking about what Day was saying. I mean, we talked a couple weeks ago. Remember Jabari Ellis? What was the weight that he said he was at?
265
last year. Yeah, so guys like that, and Turnitin was talking about how when you're such a big guy, when you take time off of football, it's really hard to get back at your playing weight and in shape when you're such a big guy. So I think those guys are the ones that are probably going to be – it's going to be really, really important these next couple of weeks for them to get in shape.
Both
we need size. Like, he was talking about all the sand things and that, but at the same time, like, we do need to bulk up. Like, our defensive line was very small last year.
Well, you're going to have to do some of that through recruiting, and it's why, we'll see how good he ends up being, but why Nicholas Barrett was a big recruit and getting him in to school early because he is a bigger defensive lineman. He's in the 320-pound range. There's only so much weight you can put on certain guys and keep them athletic and keep them at top peak physical condition for what they need to do. The defensive line for South Carolina does have highly thought of players. Jordan Birch obviously was a 5-star. Zach Pickens was a 5-star guy. That's 2 of them. Then you go down the line, Alex Hunley, Rick Sandage, both 4-star guys. JJ Ngbare has certainly proven to be an SEC-level player. Jabari Ellis is a guy that, again, we'll see how he does and how he performs. And there are other guys that are certainly fitting that mold. So with all that being said, we'll see. It's a developmental team thing right now for South Carolina. It's going to be not something that's fixed or I think a finished product on April 24th. They're going to have to go through summer workouts. They'll have to continue to improve. And then again, year one, getting to a bowl game certainly would be a very good accomplishment. 803-404-6100. How you can join us. Again, Cool Care Heating and Air text line, or you can join us Love Chevy phone lines. Terry asks on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line regarding AJ Wilson, can he shoot? Yes. The answer is, I mean, I compare him favorably to Justin Minaya. Is he going to be a knockdown? Is he a guy that you're drawing up three-pointers for? Probably not. Can he shoot? He was 32% his junior year from three-point range. He was 23% last year. His numbers went down last year, played less minutes, scored less, rebounded less. Again, South Carolina does need to get better outside shooters. Jacoby Wright, incoming point guard, fits that mold. Devin Carter is supposed to be a good shooter. You get to the SEC, athleticism changes as opposed to high school. We'll see if they can live up to that billing. Jermaine Couisnard is not a bad shooter either. He just had an awful year. And I don't know what Couisnard is going to do. He's got his name in the NBA draft. He hasn't put his name in the transfer portal. So you would think that once he gets the information he's looking for from the NBA draft, which I would assume is going to tell him to go back to school, that he'll be back in South Carolina, but remains to be seen. 803-404-6100. We will come back and put a bow on the week and get ready to welcome Tim and Jen back next week. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. Clear. All right. Oh. I know that the Masters is in control. I've got that, but I don't understand why they will not allow actual coverage to start until till 3.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Like, why would you not have coverage that starts at 1?
I've never understood it.
And I also wondered, here's an interesting, because I realized this yesterday. I wonder if it's the Masters themselves who request Jim Nance be on air. Because Nance signed his deal with CBS, which has no affiliation with ESPN. It's ESPN ABC. So does the Masters, because Jim Nance was on yesterday. He's on yesterday and today on ESPN.
I don't know.
I wonder, clearly there's a deal struck there that allows him to do the Masters. I was reading a little bit about his contract, but it's not specific as to how he's allowed to call Thursday, Friday. Obviously, Saturday, Sunday's easy. He's on CBS. That's easy. That makes sense. But what deal is struck, or is it the Masters basically saying we want Jim Nance on 18 on Thursday, Friday? Oh, Tonka Hemingway. Yeah, they got Tonka inside right now. I saw that. How much time are we looking at, Patrick?
Left or when we come back?
Yeah, when we come back.
3 or 4 minutes.
Okay. Good way to wrap it up.
Looks like. Yeah.
I'm going to decide if I'm going to get moving or call today. Oh, yeah.
Everybody make sure on Monday to tell Tim and Jen how great of a job we did.
We almost made it. We're almost there.
Yeah.
Oh, don't start with that commercial. You clearly saw my tweet. That commercial, Bill Morgan. Oh,
Greg, 5 more minutes. You can't leave yet.
Yeah, where are you going?
Come on.
I am ready for the weekend. Oh, I see you, DC. I saw your text message. I got you. If DC's still on here, yeah, I saw that. No, I don't. What the Pet Shop Boys? What is the Pet Shop Boy? Yeah, I don't. Thank goodness I don't know what the Pet Shop Boys is, though, based on what people were saying.
All right.
We're back.
We are about to be
3 minutes.
Four minutes.
4 minutes. Oh, that's the name of the band, the Pet Shop Boys.
What'd you think it was?
No, I didn't know. People were saying clearly you don't know who the Pet Shop Boys are, and I thought it was a commercial. I know. I had no clue.
All right, you're up.
Wrapping up the week, Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette. Again, Tim and Jen will be back with us, we believe. We don't think they're going to run away, but they should be back with us Monday morning. You can tune in bright and early. We'll break down the Masters, talk about this weekend's baseball series, Gamecocks and Missouri going at it this weekend right here. Starting tonight, you can hear it 7 o'clock on 107.5, the game, Gamecocks and Missouri Tigers live over at Founders Park this weekend. Again, I've said, and I'll say it one more time, just based on the remaining schedule, based on who Missouri is right now, losing record, based on the fact it's a home series, I think South Carolina really needs to sweep there. I think South Carolina needs to sweep the series, and that way you get to 9-3. They would be 9-3 in conference play if they sweep through 12 games. Man, that would be very strong, and I think set you up really well coming down the stretch with several very big series remaining for the Gamecocks. I think next week is next weekend is, I want to say maybe Arkansas or Mississippi. I can't remember the exact.
LSU.
Oh, next weekend's LSU. Okay, so I'm skipping way ahead. So LSU, again, a team that is struggling right now, certainly, but big series this weekend for the Gamecocks. Masters getting underway this morning. A bunch of guys kind of set to go off as obviously it's the tee times flip. Patrick Reed, the discussion of a lot this morning here, being a villain. He'll tee off at 2 o'clock today, so you can catch him in the afternoon. Coming up here in about 40 minutes, current leader Justin Rose, 7 under, is set to tee off 9:36 this morning. Patrick, does Justin Rose come back to the field today, or does he extend the lead?
I would assume that he's coming back. There's no way he can do that again, I wouldn't think. I don't know. I honestly don't know anything about him as a player. Has he won a major before? I don't know. But you can't do that again. That was ridiculous what he did yesterday. I would also think, in general, we're just going to have better scores today. Like Morikawa is going to shoot in the 60s today. Take it to the bank. My boy's got to come back to the lead.
I am actually shocked I guess because Justin Rose, I remember when he was an amateur and coming over from South Africa. Didn't even realize that. I'm really confused right now as I look at Justin Rose. What caught me completely off guard is that he's only 40 years old. I thought he'll be 41 in July. I don't know why I thought he was much, much older. I thought he was closer to 50. So as I looked up his age just to see it, I actually was shocked to just realize that. He has won a U.S. Open. He won back in 2013. He's got one major under his belt. I'm with you. I think it's going to be just as difficult today, Patrick. I think they start to come back to the pack. I think it's going to be a weekend that I prefer with low scores, closer to even par than 10 under.
Bryson's not making it to Saturday.
We'll see, man. 4 over, certainly big number, but a lot of big numbers yesterday. Danny, I agree. I thought Rose was from England. It said South Africa on his Wikipedia page. It's on the internet. Must be true. Appreciate everybody for joining in this morning. Coach Luke Day for joining us. Thank you for all your contributions all week. Patrick, go get some rest, man. You've done a great job.
I think we crushed it this week.
I think we had a great week. I think you did fantastic. I survived. We're all going to take a 2-day break. We'll come back on Monday morning Thank you again to everybody for joining us throughout the week. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Stay out of trouble. We'll talk to you on Monday. You've been listening to The Early Game. Bill Gunner, Patrick Prep, 107.5 The Game.
Clear.
Yeah, Danny, I guess maybe he was born in South Africa, and then there was a lot of things that caught me completely off guard with Justin Rose. His nationality is England. Apparently, he's got a place in the Bahamas. Yeah, he was born in South Africa to English parents. The family moved to England when he was 5. There you go. So yeah, that caught me off guard. Both things caught me completely off guard as I looked at his Wikipedia page. So everybody have a good weekend. We're out.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a good weekend.